attendance be very close. So please do that as you participate. It's already up. So we are recording this. We're not going to show everything because there's downtime and whatnot, but we do want you to be sure and use the mic so that we can, so that the recording can be heard. All right, we are going to start this morning with an opening ceremony presented by District 72. Thank you, District 72, for welcoming us I know that there are still some people credentialing, but we want to get started. So, Jimi Kestin will give our opening prayer. Is Jimi in here? Okay, good, he is. Okay, Jimi will offer our opening prayer. Our posting of the colors will be by American Legion Post 100 from Brandan. Then Bruce McClatch will lead us in the pledge. And I'm hoping, are the bar broads here? Where are they? Behind me? Oh, yay. Okay, and then the bar broads will sing the national anthem for us. So here we go.
Good morning, delegates. It's good to be before you again. It's nice to be back in front of you. Let's start this convention right away in prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we are just so thankful for the opportunity to gather together as Republicans to do the duty that our neighbors elected us to do. We thank you for this caucus convention system. We thank you for the opportunity to be involved in the process of electing those people who will represent us in government. Heavenly Father, we want to lift up all of our elected officials to you on the national level, from the President to the Congress, the state level, from our governor, all the way through our city council members, and all of those elected office. We want you to lift them up, to protect them, to guard their families, and to give them a great blessing. Heavenly Father, we would be remiss if we didn't lift up a special prayer this morning for Donald J. Trump, for the Trump family, for all of his staff, for all of his campaign people, and the people who will be in his cabinet. Lord, put your mighty hedge of protection around this man, around his family, and around those who are assisting him in making America great again. We thank you for this opportunity to participate in our government. We thank you for this constitutional republic that you have given us. And we pledge our support to protect and defend it. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Can we have the house lights on, please?
Let us now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
All right. Thank you to Jimi and Bruce and to our American Legion Post and to Cara Broad. What a great way to start our meeting. Oh, hang on. Folks, if you have an empty seat between you, would you please scoot in? We have a lot of people waiting for seats. Thank you. I think this auditorium holds 750 and we're about 630, so let's make sure we get everybody in, and I know we have some guests with us as well. Okay, I'm just signaling our secretary to come and give us our report. I know there are a few out there who are still credentialing, but we need a credential report before we can finish, before we can get started with our business. So, as the agenda says, we have the speeches will be interspersed throughout the meeting. So let me ask, is Evan Vickers in here? No? How about Nate Brooksby? Nate?
Down left.
Nate, come on up, we're gonna let you go. You're giving a 2-minute, oh, my timers aren't here yet. They're all credentialing. You're giving a 2-minute report as one of our elected officials. If you don't know Nate, Sheriff Brooksby, he is the best sheriff in the whole state of Utah.
So we have a lot of things going in Washington County. We just broke ground this week on a new medical mental wing in the jail. Added about 64 more beds. But during COVID, we had to introduce a bunch of restrictions. We house about 450 inmates, but we have to have space to be able to quarantine or separate gang members or people that just don't get along, mental health or detoxing. So this new space is going to be very important to be able to house some of those special needs inmates. And the commissioners have been very supportive of that. We just finished about 2 years of planning. anytime you talk about building a correctional facility, it's very expensive. So you gotta have hard walls, hard doors. So it's about $850 a square foot. Pretty spendy even for southern Utah. The county as a whole, we patrol 2,500 square miles of the county. About 50% of what we do is just helping other agencies out. So whether it's highway patrol, St. Louis City Police Department, state parks, we're just there to help everybody out. That's kind of the approach, is we all get along. We have a few units like the Drug Task Force, where we have all the agencies in the county that put manpower in there to help combat drug problems in our county. An example is 2 to 3 years ago, we might have got 300 or 400 pills of fentanyl. In 2023, we took 167,000 fentanyl pills off the street just in Washington County. With that, our overdoses have increased. We get at least one a week. Every deputy, every officer in the county, we carry 2 doses of Narcan. It's just the world we live in today, unfortunately. The open borders is not helping that. It's just fueling the drug cartels with human trafficking, drug trafficking, and they're making billions of dollars based off President Biden's open border policies, unfortunately. So my 2 minutes is up. Thank you. I appreciate everybody being here. And I want to thank you for putting the time out. This is the first step to keeping our country, hopefully mostly Republican, conservative. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Sheriff Brooksby. He also serves as one of our state central committee members, and we appreciate having an elected official on our state central committee. He is a voice of reason for Washington County, and I really appreciate him. If you are new, will you please raise your hands? Can you show the website? Thank you, Douglas. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So some of the terminology we will use you may not know, so I'm going to tell you what the State Central Committee is. In the counties, we have a county central committee. Our county central committee is made up of all of the precinct chairs and vice chairs and our elected officials. And the state central committee is made up of the county chairs and vice chairs, so myself and Barry, and then we have 180 something members of that committee, and the rest of the number, once you take out the 58 of us that are chairs and vice chairs, the rest are equally, or using the Republican strength formula, are divided amongst the counties. So we have 7 additional SCC members, and they are great. We have a great time going to SCC meetings. Okay, let's see where we're at. Oh, Brandan's here. Okay, we're going to have a credential report.
All right, good morning. Thank you for coming out. Great attendance today. I will go over the numbers real quick with you, and then these will be made available for everyone afterwards. District 72 had 153 out of 166 delegates. That's 92.1%. District 73, 137 out of 143 for a total of 95.8. District 74, 158 out of 166 for 95.1. And District 75, 122 out of 130 for a 93.8% attendance. Officiating delegates, 25 out of 27. The district that had, well, let me go over the totals first. 595 total delegates credentialed today, out of the 632 total. Okay, so our total percentage is 94.5% attendance. Great attendance. Okay. If I could get a motion to accept the credential report. State your name, please, and your precinct. 33. Thank you. A second? Your name? you.
All right, thank you. All in favor of accepting the credential report? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Brandan, do we have anybody still in line? Okay, great. Everybody is out of line. Wonderful. Okay, so that number should stand, and we will review that at the end just in case there are any stragglers who came in. That is wonderful. Almost 95%. That makes me so happy. All right, so next up on the agenda is the adopting the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is adopted. Okay, now let me just tell you, if you're a state delegate, plan on 3 hours to adopt the agenda, so just be prepared. I'm not kidding, you guys. I'm not. Okay, now I need a motion to approve the convention rules. Thank you. Kimberly, thank you. And a second? Second. A lot of you, thank you. Any discussion? Then we will proceed to vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That is approved. The convention rules are approved. Thank you. Okay, now plan on if you're a state delegate. Let me take that back. The agenda will probably take 1 hour. The rules will take 3. So just know we do it right in Washington County, and I appreciate you delegates so much. All right, now next up, if I could have Adam Snow, I'm going to have you just stand. Adam Snow, Ryan Sullivan, Gary Christensen, Tom Durrant, David Whitehead, Joe Elison. Are you guys in here? Okay, I'm seeing a few of you. Good. Coleman Jack, Neil Walter, and Walt Brooks. Stay standing, please. These candidates, yes, thank you. These candidates ran with no opposition, which says a lot. That means they're doing a great job, and we love them. These candidates, I will say their name and their position, will be elected by acclamation. County Commissioner, Seat C, Adam Snow. County Clerk Auditor, Ryan Sullivan. County Recorder, Gary Christensen. County Assessor, Tom Durrant. County Treasurer, David Whitehead. Utah House District 72, Joseph Elison. Utah House District 73, Colin Jack. Utah House District 74, Neil Walter. Utah House District 75, Walt Brooks. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. They are our nominees. They will not go to a primary. They will go straight to the general election. Do any of you guys have opposition? Adam Snow has opposition. Walt Brooks has opposition. So it's really important. Anybody else? Okay, so it's really important that we make sure that we get our Republicans elected again to office. All right, next up. Okay, the good news is we're 8 minutes ahead of our agenda time, and that is thanks to you. That is really thanks to you for being on time, being credentialed, getting in here, and not giving us grief about the agenda and rules. So thank you. All right, we are going to open the test ballot. Now, most of you, 85% of you, tried this at home. So let's go ahead and put the results up. On your ballot, some of you have a ballot that has 4 QR codes. Some of you are like me and have 4, and some of you have 2. Now, I tried this at home, guys. You're going to need to cover up 3 of them. So when you point your camera at it, you only get 1. Otherwise, you might get this one instead of this one. So just, do what you need to do, fold it or whatever. Don't fold on the QR code though, because that might make it hard for your camera to do it. Now, if you, okay, let me see, where are all of my computer desk people? Are they all out there still? Okay, so Brandon's getting them in here. If you don't have a phone and can't do this on your phone, we're going to have a computer bank right over there. You will just go and stand at the table. You can just stand right in front of it, put in your vote, and you're good to go. Okay? Now, so Brandon, you'll help to make sure they have the ballot pulled up. Okay. Now, guys are going. Fabulous. So I want you to see how our process works. So, all right, so you can see that at this point, we have 23, 24, 25, they're going fast. You're just putting in, and I hope you all have your voter ID. If you do not have your voter ID number, let's, Haley, let's show them where to go to get their voter ID. Go to vote.utah.gov, and then you will scroll down and put in Find My Voter Registration. Click on there, and fill in your information. It's coming. Fill in this information, click submit, and then your voter registration number will come up. That is how we ID you. That's how we know that you are registered. Okay, all right, let's go back to the results. All right. Oh, this is good news, because if I've got this many going this fast, we won't need to leave the votes open so long. So that'll be good. Anybody having any trouble? Okay, if you have trouble, come here to this area, and you can vote on the computers as soon as they're in here. So, Washington County did a landmark thing about a year and a half ago. We changed our bylaws and added in a provision for true representative governing of our body. And so, we all love our House representatives, our Congress, our everybody, and their votes are open to us. They are our representatives. We can watch them, we can track them, we can see how they voted. Our precinct members deserve to know how you voted when you're representing them. And so, come to the mic, please. And so, when you, about a year and a half ago, your County Central Committee voted to make our records public so that your precinct members can go and see how you voted. Haley, we didn't do this in the first, but will you take us to our website and to, let's go to WCRP Utah, click on governance, and click on voting record. And let's see, let's go, yep, that looks good right there. So, your precinct members can go and see how you voted, which is amazing. Precinct members are so happy to be able to see this and know how you represented them. Okay, yep, thank you. And then our votes today will go up and they'll be able to see us as well. All right, let's go back to the tabulation. All right, now, okay, are we at 5 whatever yet? Okay. Oh my goodness. We have 7 people in here voting for Biden? I hope that was just to try it. Okay, if you have a question, you need to come to the mic because everybody needs to hear your question. So come to the mic. We have one here and one here. Yes. Name and precinct, please. Hold on. Mic's down here, down on the floor, please. Yes.
Can we turn the lights all the way on? Some cameras are having a hard time getting it.
Yes. Okay, cameras on, lights on so that their cameras can read the ballot. Thank you. Name and precinct.
Rebecca Coleman. Precinct 72, HUR1. Once you submit a ballot, it allows for you to submit another response. How are these going to be?
I'm going to show you that.
In order to prevent
I'm going to ask somebody to do that when we get to the bottom, because if I do it right now, it'll get stuck in the middle of all that somewhere, and I'll show you what happens according to the rules that you approved. What happens? Thank you. Okay, that's a really good question. We struggled with how to do this because number one, we're Republicans and we want to do it free. And so, to pay for a system that allows us to track our votes so that we can put our votes, make our votes public, we have to do it electronically. And we couldn't find a system that was free other than Google Forms. But we had a way to stop people from voting twice, but you have to have a Google account to do that. And there are a lot of people who don't want a Google account, which is fine, I have no problem with that. So, We opened it up so that you don't have to have a Google account, but we have a provision. If you vote twice, what happens? So I'll show you that when we get done so that we can, okay, let's see. No, it's still going too fast. I can't wait. I mean, I was going to say we can wait and stick it in there, but it'll be too hard to do. So we'll wait just a couple more minutes as everybody finishes up. Oh, you guys are doing great. Anybody, if you're having problems, go over to the help desk. But it looks like most of you are able to access it pretty easily. Yes? Okay, good. Come to the mic, please. Thank you. Name and precinct. And talk by name so you can't hear.
Jeff Einbitten, STD 14.
Thank
If
you.
you did this at home, you don't need to do this now, do you?
Yes, you do. This is not the same one. This is to test it today to make sure it works today. Thank you. Yeah, he had a great question. If you did this at home, do you need to do it again? Yes. It's not the same test ballot. It's a different ballot. Now, I know that we accidentally had the ballot open when you got your, I mean, we have this form open when you received your ballot, and some of you voted right off the bat. Thank you for being so prompt. So this may have some duplicates in it because some of those people at the front did, but we're not auditing this one. We will audit the real ballot to make sure there are no duplicates. Did you have a question? Did I just answer it? Okay, great. All right. Yes. I need to do mine. I'm not voting for Biden. No, they don't need to leave. I think they did it on purpose to show us that we can have different results. Okay, now if you want to, if y'all noticed, I'm getting ready to submit mine, and it asked me to send me a copy of my responses. If you want that copy, say yes. If not, just submit. Okay, now watch how quickly mine comes up. Whoops, if I hit it. There I am, right there. Line 540, I think 540. So you can see yourself come up as well. Okay, computer bank, how are we doing over there? Are you, okay, these folks here, everyone in this line, you can't get it to work, or what's the problem? People, you can use one phone for more than once. Stage people, I don't know what we call you guys, tech people. Is there any way we can turn the lights off behind the screen? No. Okay, folks, those of you who are comfortable helping someone else on their phone, if you want to do that, we'd love your help. Still use your own email. It doesn't matter what Google account it is, just use your email and your voter ID. You know what? I love the Dixie spirit. We're a helping spirit, aren't we? For those of you who are helping, let's be sure and give a response, email them a response, so that they know that it worked. That's all right. All right, we just about cleared out the help desk. And now you all know what you're doing. So, oh good, there comes some more, good. All right. Yes, name and number, please. Name and precinct.
Is this what? Rebecca Holman, UCRLM. Will the voters who voted be vetted against the roll that we checked in? So it
I'm going to
prohibits
explain
someone.
that in just a moment.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, let's see. Nina Rhodes, where are you? Nina, will you hurry? No, never mind. Somebody came in after you. Let's have Nina do it anyway. Nina, will you hurry and vote again? Just vote again. All right, thank you, Nina. Now I want to show you what happens. Okay, let's quiet. Haley, let's show them what happens. I want you to go, Haley, up to the top, and I want you to highlight rows all the way to the bottom. Not to the bottom, but to the bottom where the voters stop. Yeah, so highlight the row, not the column. Yeah, perfect. Click on 2, yep, and then just go all the way down. Okay, now I want to show you, this is how the audit takes place. Let's close the vote. Has everybody voted? Hold on, we've got a couple more that need to vote. How many more do we have that need to vote? Raise your hand if you need to vote. We have 2? Okay, Haley, hold on for 2 seconds. Okay, that's good. There's going to be some evidence. That's what we need. Okay, just hey, yeah, hold those for 2 seconds there while we wait. Yes, name and precinct.
Adam, I'm just trying to think through this, and I don't think there's any foul play or anything, but if we're putting up the voter ID on things, then someone should easily...
You can't see the voter ID, it's hidden.
That's what can we hide it a little bit more, just so that...
There's 7 in it, so it's not going to be, it's fine, yeah. Thank you, though, that's a good question. Yes? Okay, yes, turn on either your Wi-Fi or your, whatever it is that, I don't know about technical words, but anyway, make sure that it's in. Okay, perfect. Okay, there went 1, we've got 1 more left, who's our last one? Oh, we have 2 more. Okay, let's just sort it now, that's fine. So now you're going to sort it by D and E. So go up to data. Go ahead, bring it down 1 more. Ah, dang it. It's okay if we don't. Okay, good. Okay, go to data and sort range on over to advanced. Yes. No, there's 1 more. Then go column. Which column was it? D, column D, and then column E. Down to sort, yep, E, and then sort. Now it's because some more went in. Okay, let's pull them in. Try it again. It may not let us, you may have to do it all, copy it all again. No, you're going to have to copy it again. Do we have, how many left? Just 1 or 2 to vote? None. Okay, close it. All right, now we can close it and be done. Now, when it comes time to vote, while she's sorting this, when it comes time to vote, if you already know you're going to have a problem, go get in line right away. If you know you want to use the computer, you don't want to use your phone, just get in line right away so that we don't have to wait on you getting in line. Okay? And then D and E. Okay, and sort.
You've got to create a filter. It won't sort this way.
Yes, it does.
No, it won't. That's why
A
you're
sorting
getting that
form
wrong.
data include all columns associated. Okay, say okay. Oh, that's what it is, sorry. Hey, you have to highlight the whole row. So when you click on 1, go to the top. Thank you. Click on 2. No, don't do that. Just hover over the 2 and hold and go down. There you go. Thank you. Yes, you do have to do that. Okay, now sort. Yeah, here we go, sort. Folks, let's keep it to a minimum, please. Okay, very good. Now go up. And the first time you find someone who has done 2 votes, let's look for Nina. Go for R. Go for the R. Okay, because we know Nina. Sorry, Nina, not Nina. Okay, we're almost there. Is it RH or RO? Oh, there she is. Okay, Nina. Now this is what happens when we audit. Brandan has a list of everybody who is credentialed. One computer will be sitting here with everyone credentialed in alphabetical order. The vote will be sitting here. All candidates can have poll watchers who can go and watch this. Okay, so he will have this one here saying, here's the credential. Here's who voted. And they go line by line to make sure, number 1, that no one on that list over here isn't on this list. Okay, so if you're trying to do something nefarious, which I hope as a Republican you never do that, but if you're trying to commit voter fraud, or if you're trying to make us look bad, we'll catch you. So if you try to share this code with someone who's not credentialed or doesn't live in here, it's not going to work, guys. Okay, so just don't even try it. Now, once he compares them, then he's also looking for duplicates. Now, the rules state that if you vote twice, both ballots are thrown out. Okay? So, what happens when he notices that Nina voted twice? It will be stricken through. So, strike through 450. Format. There you go. And strike through 458. And the reason why this has happened is we don't know what your intent is. And we can't decide for you. It's just like if you were to cast 2 ballots in a regular election. They both get thrown out because we don't know which one's right. Then you'll have to copy the whole row. There you go. No, yeah, sorry. Then they are cut from the spreadsheet and taken clear to the bottom. Edit, cut, yep. Okay, just move them. Yep. Okay, now, whoops. Oh no, undo. Okay, there you go. Now, it's so fun using not a mouse. Okay. Hover over the numbers. No, that didn't work. We should have practiced cutting. Okay, now, stay right there. Right click. You don't have a right click. No, it didn't work. Okay, they will be cut and moved underneath the formula. So they are taken out of the numbers that voted. So if you don't know if you voted, don't vote again. Come down here, we'll check and see if your name is on the list, and then we'll make sure that you are fine. So they'll be moved underneath the formula. Now, click on 559 on row 627 under Donald Trump. I can't see it. Yeah, under Donald Trump. Click on the 559. Okay, look up at the top. This says count if G2 to G624 is Donald Trump, and then it counts it. Same with each of the other ones. So we know how many immediately counted in each one. So the audit process takes a few minutes, as you can see, because we've got to make sure they're credentialed, and we've got to make sure there aren't duplicates. And then we'll present the results after that. Okay, further questions? Yes, sir? Name and precinct.
Is it
Yes,
working?
just
My
right.
name is David Expert. I'm an STG 45. What if the duplicates are due to a technical glitch but are otherwise identical to each other? Will they still be destroyed?
I don't know what the technical glitch would be. You have to submit it twice to be duplicated.
Right, but something could potentially do that automatically. But if they are identical otherwise, and you vote for the same candidate.
No, the rules say if there's a duplicate vote, they're both thrown out. So don't vote twice, folks. Just don't vote twice. You're fine. Okay? All right. If in the end, because we will show you the results at the end, and we will show you it just like this. We will scroll through it slowly so you can see your name and see that your vote was cast the way you wanted to. If you end up on the bottom as one of those who voted twice, then you can prove to me that you didn't vote twice, then you can appeal that decision. All right, we are, come to the mic, please. Okay, who can take a mic to him? Can you take a mic, please? Thank you.
St. George would ever ask if you could expand the screen.
Yes, we will make it larger. Okay, thank you. All right, so 559 voted for Donald Trump, Joe Biden 13, Bobby Kennedy Jr. 19. So that's our results for that fun little test poll. All right, we are going to move on now. You guys are great. That is great. Yes. Yes, and you can do that. You can leave your vote if you, just like any regular vote. If you don't have somebody, you can leave it blank. All right. You guys are awesome. I gave us 15 minutes for that, and we took 20. Good job. All right. Candidate speeches. We are now going to hear from our Senate district candidates, District 29 candidates. If you are wondering if you're voting for these people, if your bottom number, the one underneath your precinct, your house, the next one is your Senate. If it says if it says 29, you are voting for this race. And it is on your ballot as Senate District 29, Ballot 1. All right, so we would invite Chad Bennion, Cory Green, and Don Ipson to come up. Chad, you'll be first on stage. If the others will just stay behind stage, that would be great. And okay, we do have our timers here. Very good. And so thank you, Mark and Jimi, for being our timers. Let's do the demonstration for those who don't know. Here in Washington County, we don't like people to go over time. So but if you ever known a candidate who doesn't go over time, introduce me. So what we do is when Mark raises the red stop, we all clap. Okay? So, and they can keep talking, but we're not listening anymore. We're clapping and we're ready for the next candidate. So we advise you to use your 3 minutes wisely. The 3 minutes begins with the nomination and the second. So if some candidates are having nominations and seconds, and then they will speak 3 minutes total time. Okay, so as soon as the first person starts talking, we start timing. All right, Chad Bennion first, Cory Green second, and Don Ipson after that. And, never mind. Okay, Chad.
I'm Chad Bennion, and I'm candidate for Senate District 29. It's an honor for me to be here today and to address you. I'm grateful to live under this inspired constitutional republic where we have our rights and liberties enumerated in the Constitution. This great grand experiment, as Franklin called it. Long may the United States endure with our freedom and liberties. Now, in any campaign, it's about the distinctions between the candidates. Now, I've tried to enumerate in my literature and on my website the distinctions between myself and the incumbent on the issues. Now, I want you to ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? What have you lost, and what have you gained? We've lost Dixie. We have insurance for illegal aliens, and we had a chance to get back to Cox's system and get rid of the signature path, but we didn't. So what are you willing to lose in the next 4 years? Now, in a few moments, the incumbent's going to come out here with a cadre of well-established politicians supporting you. And why? Because they know that if the incumbent senator loses, they might be next. I've tried to make this campaign about issues and representation, because representation really does matter. And I want to share with you something that a constituent of District 29 shared with me. Approximately 4 years ago, they reached out to the senator on a matter, asking him to vote a certain way, and sought a response. Well, after 3 weeks of not receiving a response, this constituent, with some frustration, understandably so, reached out and said, "Will you please let me know if you're going to be signing this resolution or not? I'm one of your constituents, and my tax dollars help give your paycheck for your public service. I think I deserve an answer." Well, the response this time was more immediate. "I'm not going to sign the resolution. It's non-binding, it's little more than a pledge. I do not sign pledges. The legislature, and particularly the Senate, is working on a long-term solution. As far as my salary goes, my W-2 form will show approximately $20,000 for this year. Your share of that is 15 cents. Excuse me, 6.7 cents. Now, if you want someone who values you at 6.7 cents, vote for the incumbent. If you want someone who values you more and will represent you, vote for the incumbent.
Okay, next up is Cory Green. Cory, where are you? Oh, okay, come on up.
How are all of you doing today? I don't know what's more exciting, to be here at convention or to be on the Dr. Phil show. This is what type of campaigning our incumbents stooped this low to start pulling family into politics. And that's wrong. Senator Likely wouldn't put up with it. Sharon Lee wouldn't put up with it. I have no problem being attacked as a candidate, but you do not attack my family or drag my children into it, period. Shame on you, Don Ipson. You owe me an apology, sir. I'm going to make the case for why we should not re-elect Don Ipson. 2014, he voted for SB 54. SB 54 is called the Incumbent Protection Bill. Okay? It basically gives all of us delegates the middle finger so somebody can bypass this convention process to go and get on the primary ballot. Don Ipson failed to do that in this election. Wasted $22,000 to try to bypass we the people and our voices. That's wrong. That bill needs to be overturned. County delegates, and just so y'all know, if you got any bad stuff on me that came out the other day, unfortunately, in 2009, I had to take a plea deal. That got tossed in 2023 because we have great constitutional law lawyers. Not on my background, not on police record, not on record with the court. So the incumbent messed himself up with that one. You can't get a job as an investigator with Adult and Aging Services like I did in 2022, investigating abuse if you've been accused or convicted of abuse. If I was a donor of Don Ipson's, I'd be ticked off that he blew $22,000 to try to bypass this process. He gave the middle finger to the grassroots of St. George when he participated in the cancellation of Dixie State. Just like the Davis County School District and my high school at High and St. Fred for Red Hawk. Aiding and abetting the land and terrorism. I ask for your vote and stand up for all the President Trump and my team on step 2. Thank you.
Thank you, and we have one more, Don Ipson. Sure.
My name is Brent Hall. I am pleased to nominate Don Ipson to be the Senator of District 29. First, because he is a good man. I first met Don Ipson when I was Boy Scout District Chairman. He was one of my vice chairmen as a counselor in the St. George State Presidency. Whenever I would ask Don to take an assignment, he was always very supportive. I always felt accepted and appreciated. Years later, when I needed help with the Dixie High School track improvement, Don helped make the project possible. I nominate Don Ipson second because he is an excellent senator. He has responded to my emails and listened to my point of view. Don is one of 4 people in the Utah legislature who lead the creation of the Utah state budget. As a CPA, I understand the importance of budgets. Don Ipson has helped balance the budget, build a good rainy day fund, and push for tax cuts. He has helped build Utah's financial stability that has resulted in Utah being recognized as the best fiscally managed state in the nation. I'm honored to nominate Senator Don Ipson for re-election to Senate District 29.
My name is Walt Brooks. I represent District 75, and I second the nomination for Don Ipson. Let me just tell you why. I carefully valued and looked after every single one of these candidates, and they're good people, all of them. So I want, what is going to be best for Washington County? What can help us the most that we don't get ignored from the Wasatch Front? And that's by hands down Don Ipson. We have lowered taxes for the last 5 years, mostly because of his influence. I ran Social Security tax. To remove that off the Social Security tax, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have Don Ipson. We did it for 4 years in a row, and we're still trying to get that completely removed. We have a public safety helicopter that came to Washington County. There's only 2 in the state. One's right here because of Don Ipson. We have water issues. He got us the money that we needed to build reservoirs in Tokerville, the reservoir over in Graveyard Wash, and one in King County called Cove, that all feed Washington County. These are infrastructure needs that we have to have, and we need someone with some influence, and that's why I recommend and actually vote for Don Ipson.
Thank you for being here starting this Saturday. I'm honored to be serving as your state senator. I look forward and hope you will vote for me. I'm a constitutional fiscal facility. I've had the opportunity to serve in leadership and I'm the vice chair of executive appropriations, which is an appointed position that we'll lose if I don't go back. I've been assured that I'll have that position. I love Dixie. I'm committed to St. George. And I love this area. I've spent 40 years of my life in developing a business here, and I'm honored that you will send me back. Thank you.
All right. Brandan, did the credentialing change at all? I'm not sure what he did. Oh, thank you. I don't know why that's not standing up there very well. Okay. Oh, got you. I thought you said it fell over. Okay, oh man, and I just realized, I don't remember who had this. I think it may have been Ray. Okay, is Brandan here? I don't know where Brandan is. Anybody see him? I don't believe that credentialing numbers changed. So for our final credential report, we have 595 here. I'm going to step back here because our parliamentarian has given us what our majorities and whatnot are so that we know what we need to do things. So on our overall votes, when we all vote, a 2/3 majority is 396. A majority, simple majority, is 298. In the race that we're going to vote on right now, the 70% to be the only convention candidate is 257. All right, now I do need Brandan though, because he needs to open the ballot. Can somebody tell me where he is? Brandan, here we go. Did we have any other credentials? Okay.
The credential numbers are the same as they were in the initial credential report. We've had no amendments, adjustments, or anything to propose. So again, 595 total delegates are present, and that will be the number. Obviously, we're not going to have more votes than that. So, and in Senate District 29, that applies to only some of you, so the vote total will be less.
Okay, let me tell you what the vote, there are 367 credentialed in 29. That's why that number didn't sound right when I said that. We used the 3, whatever I just said, number is the number we use to determine our percentages there for this particular race. All right, Brandan, do we have it open? Oh, before we do that, who was the district trophy winner?
That was the purpose of coming up here. The district with the highest percentage was district number 73. 95.8% of the delegates attended. Congratulations, District 73.
I forgot to remind our district chair, I don't know where it's at. It's at somebody's house. So whoever gets the traveling trophy, they hold it till the next meeting. So District 73, Kimball, you will get to have the trophy in your home until our CCC meeting when we have our next decisions there. All right, we are going to, let me turn so I know where we're at. Okay. For those of you who are not in Senate District 29, will you please just be patient during this time? I'd ask you to please keep your comments to a very low, if nothing, so that the folks who are in 29 can vote, and then afterwards we'll do the straw poll vote. So voting is now open. Voting is now open. We'll leave it open for about 10, 15 minutes max. So you're going to vote. Let me find my paper. Somebody took my paper. Okay, so you're going to do the second ballot, the ballot that says Senate District 29, ballot 1. Ellen Page has lost her driver's license. If anybody saw that or picked it up, would you please bring it to us? Thank you. Can you remember to leave the computer room to head right over? If you are wondering if your vote went through, if you're afraid it didn't, and wondering if you should vote again, Brandan is the one to come ask. Folks, if you're having a hard time and your neighbor didn't, see if they'll let you use their phone. Okay, that'll help us get through this quicker. All right, folks, I hear a lot of chatter, so that tells me you must be done. Is there anyone who has not voted who would like to? How many do you have, Rebecca? Just 1? 3? Okay, 3. If you'll just be quiet for 2 more minutes while these 3 vote, then we'll close the voting. Okay, are we finished? Anybody over there? 1? Okay. No? Okay, speak now or forever hold your peace. We're close. Okay, we got 1. Thank you. Done? Okay, close the polls, please. All right, now, we have, the polls are closed. Candidates may have one poll watcher, and they may go with Barry and Brandon right now. They're going to go into another room to do the audit so they can speak while they're doing it. So, poll watchers, who are you? Okay, we've got one here, one there, and do we have another one? Okay. They're coming with you. Just come on up and follow them. All right, we're going to send them out on their way to do the audit. All right, here we go. Now, we have Canab. Did Boyd Cory come today? The chair over in Canab was so grateful that we held our convention this time because he piggybacked to us and because he piggybacked at 2 o'clock today. A lot of the candidates, the state and federal candidates, are going to Canab, which I'm so happy for them. They don't usually have them come, so they're excited to have them visit. So as we proceed through our business today, we are going to let those who are going to Canab speak maybe earlier than the agenda said, which we are allowed to do that. Anyway, to let them get out and get on the road to Canab. Now, in the meantime, I want you to know that the straw poll is now open. So you may do the straw poll. Now, here's the deal with the straw poll. We're not going to, it's not going to be official. It's unofficial. I'm going to ask you to please vote once. We're not auditing it. This is just for fun, to see how we feel at the state convention were today. How would we vote? Okay? So I'm just going to ask you to use integrity, and we're going to leave that open for a little while, so don't stress about it, and you can just work on that. All right, so I think what we'll do right now is, Laurie, let's have your report.
Good afternoon. My name is Laurie Terry, and I am currently serving as your party treasurer. And it is an honor to do so. That made my day. You guys are awesome. I just want you to know that it is a privilege to serve you, and I don't have expertise in a lot of areas, but I can count money, and I can keep a bank account, and I can keep records. So that's how I serve you. Thanks for letting me do it. I just want to tell you that the first part of this year, the first quarter, has been amazing. Our donations so far, year to date, have been over $100,000. That applause is for yourselves, because you are what have done this. We made, I know we spend a lot to do Lincoln Day. The expenses are great, but we brought in over $9,000 this year on our Lincoln Day fundraiser. Our caucus donations, those who showed up to caucus donated almost $30,000. That was absolutely amazing. Yes. Jim Rutt's going for the bucket lady, because everywhere I go I pass around the bucket, and I'm going to pass it around again today. I know you guys have donated your hearts out. I'm going to give you the opportunity if you'd like to do it again. So far, we're completely in line with budget. Our income has been a little over $100,000, and our expenses so far this year are at $114,000. No, that's not right. Yes, it is. That is. We have 2 years. We only have caucus once every other year, so that money coming in from caucus gets us through from the next year. So I just want to tell you that we are solvent. We have money in the bank. We are doing good things with your money. And if you ever have any questions, you can contact me. Thank you so much.
tell you, I am the most blessed chair in the state, and maybe the country. I don't know everybody else's, I don't know all the rest of the states, but no one has a better secretary than me, no one has a better treasurer, no one has a better vice chair. Our district chairs are amazing. We are really blessed. I listen to all the other counties and the struggles and problems they have, and I am just so grateful and so glad I get to serve with them. All right, let's do this next. Let's have our acceptance speeches. So we'd invite Adam, Gary, David, Ryan, Tom, Joe, Colin, Neil, Walt, and Darren to come up. I don't think Darren Owens is here. Is Darren Owens here? Okay, so we won't hear from him. All the rest of them, we're giving them 1 minute to give you a little acceptance speech, give you the love. And so come on up, and we'll do that. Let's just have everybody here waiting so that you can just go right through it. So Adam, then Gary, then David, then Ryan, then Tom, then Joe, Colin, Neil, and Walt. And Eric Clark was out of town and not able to be here. He also is our county attorney. He just wanted to give appreciation on his behalf as well, and he's happy to serve another 4 years. All right, Adam.
Thank you. I stood not on this stage, we were in a different school, but 2 years ago, asking for your support to fill out the rest of Governor Cox's term. He tragically was taken from us. I'm asking for your support now, and thank you for for my first full term of 4 years. I told you that I would run on a couple of things, and so I just wanted to report back to you as my bosses on the things that we've been working on. Water. We are making massive strides on water, and I think we're going to be okay. Economic development, we're doing really, really well. We have the lowest tax rate in all of the state of Utah. And we have done what we can to make local government lean and mean. And last year, we proudly declared and loudly declared that Washington County was America's county, and that we were going to be the shining beacon on the hill, where we are a sanctuary county, not for woke ideas, but for the Constitution, for the Bill of Rights, for your personal individual liberty. And we will always be the example in Utah and America for how local government should be run. So thank you very much.
We love you, Adam. My name is David Whitehead. I'm the Washington County Treasurer, and I appreciate being up here, and I just want to express my gratitude. Being the County Treasurer and being able to serve in this position is a great opportunity, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that I had to do that. I just wanted to take part of my minute to introduce my staff and tell you who they are. I don't think they're here today, or not all of them are here today, and if they were, I wouldn't even want to embarrass them by having them stand. But I have the opportunity of having a small staff, so I can mention them by name, each one, and not worry about leaving somebody out. So we have Galen Hansen works in our front office, Catherine Tolman works in our front office, Carla DeVille works in our front office, and Lesa Gubler works in our front office. And my chief deputy is Salome Burgess, who I would not be able to do this job without her. They are all great employees, and we love them, and we're grateful for them. Thank you very much.
I'm Ryan Sullivan. I'm the County Clerk Auditor. I took office a little over 9 months ago, and during that 9 months, I've had the opportunity to do 3 elections. One of the first things that I did when I took office is implement an additional audit as it pertains to elections. It goes above and beyond what the state requires. And what that policy looks like is we randomly select precincts, and we take the paper ballots from those precincts, and we literally hand count them as a team, and compare those results to the results that come from the machine to ensure there's a one-to-one relationship. And as far as I know, we're the only county in the state of Utah that does that. I'm pretty proud of that. It's something that we'll continue to do.
We have a great office. All the appraisers are credentialed. We have all our certified, except for 2 that have their license credential. They're on their way to becoming certified. Anyway, I believe everybody serving in the office is trying to do a good job and serve everyone with the right attitude and the right interests at heart. We, since got into the assessor's office, we've made a couple of changes with the growth that we've experienced, but we've got more people in production and less people in management. We've never spent our budget yet this year. I think this year, since I've been elected, we've turned back about $1.5 million. So we're trying to be accountable to resources and to serve. We call our office, we answer the phone, and we're really trying to be accountable to the resources you give to us. Thank you.
Hey folks, it has been an absolute honor to represent Washington County the last 2 years up in session. I'm happy to report that many of you have reached out to me. You follow my voting record quite well, and I'm grateful that you've told me that I'm one of the most conservative voters up in Salt Lake City. So I'm happy to report that. I'm also happy to report that we have a tax watchdog called Utah Taxpayers Association. I'm ranked tied for first place in that. For 2 years in a row, I've received that award, so I'm out there watching for your taxes. I'll continue to do so. Anyway, but thank you for letting me serve you. It's been an absolute honor. I'm grateful for my colleagues here. They're amazing. Our freshman class last year really moved the House to a conservative position, and we're there to continue to fight for you. So let us know what your concerns are. We're happy to do so. Thank you much.
My name is Colin Jack, and 2 years ago I promised you that I would work to protect your personal liberty, financial freedom, and energy security. You hired me and I went to work with my colleagues in Salt Lake City, and I showed up. I can report that in the past 2 years, we have helped push back on CBDC, PRC and the CCP, DEI, CRT, and ESG. We've cut taxes $1 billion. And this last year, that's the biggest thing. This last year, there were 28 bills dealing with energy, and leadership trusted me to put my fingerprints on all of them. I only ran 4 of them, but we killed 8 of them. We fixed them. We did a lot of work. I'm here to say I promise to work again for the next 2 years to protect your personal liberties, your financial freedom, and energy security.
My name is Neil Walter, and I represent House District 74. Where are my friends from District 74? Hey, thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure and honor to serve and represent you in the Utah House of Representatives. I want to talk about one really specific thing. When I ran, one of the things that was a really big concern was the social justice moving through, specifically higher ed and to a great extent public ed. The House Bill 261, Equal Opportunity Initiatives, if you're not familiar with this bill, it is the DEI bill that was just referenced. And this bill is a really critical bill because what it says is a couple of things. It says, number one, it's not appropriate in any context to tell somebody that because of their gender or their race or their ethnicity that they're incapable of succeeding in the United States of America. That's not okay. Number two, nobody is oppressed or an oppressor or a racist because of their gender identity or because of their gender, rather, because of their race or their ethnicity. We're not going to do that in the United States. We're not doing that in the state of Utah. So I want you guys to know we're working hard for the Capitol. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank everybody for being here. I don't think people understand how much work that each one of you do to get the candidates, to get the research that we do, and we trust people. We trust what you do, and that's why we have this system. I appreciate you being here today. I would mention most of my work that takes place in this last session in the chair of natural resources. And there's a lot of movement, and I think Treasurer Oaks is going to speak to this about the 30 by 30 and other ways to try to control our water and control our land. I mentioned 90% of what I did up there was to stop those type of bills going through committee, so they don't even get to the floor. Because we're not going to allow the federal government and these left-wing people to try to control what we're doing in the state. Thank you.
There's always business to be done. All right, awesome. I am so proud that these will be our candidates on the general ballot and that they will be represented. We are really blessed in Utah, or in Washington County, because pretty much if you're the Republican on the ballot, you're going to win. So these will be our winners, and we're 100% sure. So we're excited about that. All right, now I would like to, as we're waiting for the audit to finish, they're almost done. Let's start with some of our federal and state candidates. But before we do that, I'd like to to introduce you to Kim Coleman. Kim is our state party vice chair. She's here representing the party today, and I'd like to introduce you to her and let her give you a little welcome message as well.
Glad to be with you today, and I just wanted to bring greetings from our state Republican Party. So your chairman, Rob Axon, is celebrating his wife's birthday today and could not be here. But I hope you're seeing some of the success that we're seeing at the state level. So in the next couple of weeks, we should meet about $1 million in fundraising, and that helped us advertise caucus and things like that, and it will enable us to support a lot of candidates this year. And then, of course, we're gearing up for the national convention. So we look forward to seeing a lot of you at the April convention. And your chair is just amazing. She is so dedicated and so engaged to
Thank you, Kim. We have a great state party. They are doing wonderful things. I'm so happy to be a part of that. As the chair of the party, I sit on, well, we have our, I'm on the SEC, but also I was elected by the SEC to sit on the executive committee as one of the representatives for Congressional District 2. I sit alongside with Chad Saunders, who's from Tooele. And we get to go to the executive committee meetings and see everything they're doing and participate in that. We're voting members. And so I'm really happy to be able to serve there and serve with them. And they're doing a great job. Yes. Talk right into it. Oh, it's not on. We need a mic on down. Come to this one. Let's see if this one's on. That one is.
Kimball Willard, District 73 Chair, point of personal preference.
Yes.
District 73 has never come close to winning, being the highest in attendance. That's a huge credit to our people being engaged, but I also want to give out a huge thank you and shout out to my new vice chairs that jumped in, got to work, communicated with you delegates. Please give them an applause for putting it together.
I don't know if y'all read the Roberts rules. It was so funny. I got a text from one of my team, and they had like this book in the text, and they're like, how am I going to read that all before convention? I'm like, just read the basics. Just do the Roberts rules for dummies. But point of personal privilege is one of my favorite ones, to be able to speak to the crowd and acknowledge something awesome. All right, let's start with, here we did Kim. Now, I'm going to go in ballot order. We're just trying to be fair to everyone, so we're going to do ballot order. And we are going to, sorry, I need to find this. We're going to start with we're going to do a few of our Senate nominees. So we're going to start with, here we go. A couple of them, so anybody who purchased a booth, we are giving them 3 minutes to speak to you. A couple of them couldn't be here, so we're going to, we'll show a video for them. So let's cue up John Curtis to begin with. He's here. John Curtis is here in person. John, come on up. Okay, I thought you were going to be here. Okay, so let me go in this order. Let's go with John. Okay, honestly, guys, I wish I was like really, had a good memory. I don't know if these people are here, but if they are, they get their chance to speak, if they bought a booth. So, actually, I can tell myself that. Is Jason Walton here, or do we have a video from him? Here? No? Okay, we have nothing from Jason. Okay, we don't have one from him. Brad Wilson, is he here? Okay, Brad's here, so you'll come after John. Then Trent Staggs, and then Carolyn Fippen, and then Brent Oren. Did I miss anybody that's on your list, Haley? Okay, Brent Oren catch, sorry. Okay, John, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Lisa.
He flew in from DC last night. Well, I don't know when you got here, but we were flying yesterday night, so. Okay.
Yes. So delightful to be all with all of you. I am John Curtis, and I am interviewing for the position of the next U.S. Senator from Utah. And thank you. I'm pleased to be here with you. Some of you know me as Utah's 3rd congressional representative, where I've served for the last 7 years. Some of you remember me as the mayor of Provo, and some of you even remember me from my shooting range days when I built shooting ranges here in the county and around the entire world. But many of you haven't had a chance to get to know me. So in the next very short 2.5 minutes, I want to share some things from the John Curtis resume with you that will help you make a decision about me as the next senator. First of all, I've been to the border not once, not twice, 3 times. I was there 3 weeks ago. I had a chance to do a ride-along with the local sheriff's office. We actually apprehended 3 individuals who had crossed the wall. I understand the border, and I understand what it will take to fix it. It's not that complicated. Joe Biden, if he would implement Remain in Mexico today, 90% of the problem would go away. I understand public lands. I not only understand public lands, I have a success record of beating the federal government on public lands. I have transferred more federal land to state ownership than anyone in the entire state's history. I'm big on energy policy. As a matter of fact, if you go to Washington and you ask my colleagues, I believe they'll tell you I've done more to push back on the broken Joe Biden energy policies than anyone in Congress. And every day I work to prove that Utah's natural resources are not the problem, they're actually part of our energy solution. I push back on China's aggression. They're stealing our IP, they're stealing our data, they want to take the freedom away from our friends in Taiwan. I want you to know that I've done such a good job of pushing back on China, there's actually a warrant for my arrest in China. On Joe Biden's reckless spending. As a matter of fact, I stand before you today as one of the only politicians probably on the planet that has lowered government spending. When I was mayor of Provo, property taxes were lower after I left after 8 years than when I started. Experience matters. Let me just tell you quickly, I have experienced staff, experienced team, and in a town where seniority matters, I actually get to carry my seniority from the House to the Senate. That's right, you don't start over with U.S. seniority with me. And let me just say this, I don't make a lot of promises. People that know me know that I like to under-promise and over-deliver. But I will make you a promise today. If I'm your next senator, I will make your issues my issues. If you care about them, I'll care about them. Public lands, overreach of the federal government, northern corridor, water, all the things that are important to you. And I want to speak for the priority. I want to speak for you. I will leave for you. Thank you very much.
Well, it is great to be with all of you today. You know, I have to admit that I never saw myself a number of years ago standing here on this stage. Politics was not part of Brad Wilson's plan. My wife Jenny and I have been through a lot together, and when I was debating about a year ago running for the Senate, it was actually my wife Jenny that said to me, Brad, this work really matters and you need to run. And I've also never wanted to be a politician. I'm actually, in my heart of hearts, a small business owner and a home builder. 3 decades ago, I left a great job working for someone else to start my own company. And I've loved almost every minute of it. But it hasn't been easy. You know, those of you that are small business owners know that. I've seen it all. Sleepless nights, difficult times, tough calls. And because as a business owner, the exciting thing and the scary thing is that every day is a fight. You have to keep the lights on, you have to provide for those mouths that you feed through the business you own. But it's also that after seeing the freedoms that we've talked about today already, that are under assault by Joe Biden and the radical left, and even some phony conservatives that we have in Washington, D.C. that will not stand up and fight, we knew in my house that it was time to put it all on the line again and to run for the U.S. Senate so that Utah can play its part in saving this amazing country. We are absolutely in a defining moment. People across this state can feel it. We are going to send, and the question is actually, are we going to send a conservative fighter to the Senate with the courage and the fight to stand up and do the right thing? Or are we going to send a phony that's going to roll over because their values are flexible and their votes are negotiable? The other candidates are all going to say that we need to secure the border and stop spending and stop Joe Biden. And I absolutely agree with all of that. But I'm the only conservative fighter that's running in this race that's been through the fire and has come out tested and trusted. In Utah, while I was Speaker of the House, we cut over $1 billion in taxes, the largest tax cut in Utah's history. We passed some of the strongest pro-life and Second Amendment bills in the country. We banned men from competing in women's sports, and we banned educators from indoctrinating our kids instead of educating them. And as Speaker, I repeatedly took Joe Biden to court to stop his radical environmental agenda. I want to thank the amazing sheriff. I want to thank the 3 county commissioners and your 7 lawmakers, all from Washington County, for their support. Thank you.
Okay, there were a lot of people not here, so I got lost. So hopefully it's me. Carolyn Fibbin, I'm running for the U.S. Senate. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about me. I come to this from a very different angle from everybody else who I'm running against. I have worked in politics for about the past 15 years, and before that, I was home for 20 years raising 5 amazing boys. Because ultimately, it is not the politicians who will save this nation. And it is not the politicians who have done anything but put us at a place where we are about to fall off a cliff with $34.5 trillion of debt, with a southern border that is completely open, and I was down there as a regular old citizen a year ago, talking to border agents, taking a look at what the issues were that we were dealing with and how they could be solved, because I work with my elected officials to get, not what politicians always tell us, to get things done. I work with my elected officials to get the right things done. For
the right things are never the easy things, and we are at a point where we have been kicking the can down the road for my entire lifetime. And we've been asking at what point this will end and at what point our politicians will start working for us, the people. And I don't think we're there yet. We have got to hold them accountable, and we have got to elect people who are going back to Washington to do those difficult things, those necessary things, and to do the work that will reestablish the principles of this nation that were built on some very fundamental principles, which include what I have devoted much of my adult life to, the strength of our families, which is founded on a belief and a faith in God. And by the way, until we start being willing to say that, we will continue heading down this road that we've been on. I will also tell you, my family came across the plains. My third great-grandfather founded the city that I live in, and he was born in the same area of New York where I was born. I was born and raised around a whole lot of people who didn't do things the way that I did, who didn't speak the way I do, and I still learned to always find ways to bring them my way, because truth is truth and right is right, and this is the greatest nation that this world has ever seen. And we will restore it. Trent starts for you. I didn't see you come up. Did Trent leave? Has anybody seen him? Okay, all right then, Brent, you're next. Sorry, I was like, I know I missed somebody.
It's very good to be with you here today. I get asked constantly that every candidate in this race says they're a conservative. How can you tell if they're really a conservative? And that's the question you're going to have to ask if you vote for the next senator from Utah. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, because I think your life's work really goes into that. I had the great opportunity, I'm a lawyer, when I graduated from law school, I'm lucky to do well enough that I got asked to work for the most conservative and probably the brightest mind in our judiciary at that time, a judge by the name of Robert Ford. You remember Judge Bork. He was insanely brilliant. The senators couldn't touch him at the hearings. And what did they do? They got dirty. They made personal attacks. They rifled through his garbage. They treated him awfully. It was kind of the beginning of the lack of civility in our politics. That was a huge number for me, because I understood that politics, unlike politics in our legislature here, where the Republicans luckily comprise 75%, it's a fight back there. And you have to know what to do to be able to win. I stood with Judge Cory. He asked me to then work, and I got an offer from President Reagan, the first truly conservative president in our lifetime. Do you remember that race? We were told that if we voted for President Reagan, we'd have a nuclear war, he'd push the button, the economy would be destroyed, we'd be in wars all over the world, and individual rights would be gone. That's what we were told by the mainstream press. What happened? You remember? The Soviet Union crumbled. The Berlin Wall came down, and we started to get good conservative justice along the Supreme Court, which was an honor for me to work for him. You're hearing that stuff now, the same stuff about our candidates. What was President Reagan's first campaign slogan? I don't remember the second one. Let's make America great again. History is prologue. One of the great things that motivated me to do was make a difference in my life. Who I am as a conservative. I helped found, with just a few of us, we created the largest conservative legal group in the country, the Federalist Society. What did we do? We changed the world. We changed the entire judiciary until now, with President Trump nominating 3 of our nominees. We now have 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. And I ask you, what lasts longer than a president? Supreme Court justice, right? That's what I've been spending my entire life doing. I'm a lawyer now. Companies hire me to save them from all kinds of woes. I have knowledge to fight. I fought for President Reagan. I fought for the White
Okay, Jason, are you back? Okay, come on up. Jason Walton. I am excited to meet you. I've never met you before. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's good to meet you. My name is Jason Walton, and I'm very proudly running for the United States Senate. And it's so good to be here with you in Washington County. I live in Provo, Utah, up north. But yeah, so I'm originally from Monticello, Utah. Anybody here from San Juan? Glad to hear from you. I'm a 5th generation from Monticello. And when I was growing up as a kid, my dad would brought me on the local radio station, and he would broadcast games. I'd drive all around with him. And when I came to a place anywhere near St. George, it was like Big Eyes, Big City. Jason Walton is my name. Yeah, U.S. Senate. So I eventually went to Brigham Young University, where my wife and I received degrees in accounting. And we started a company right out of our garage. And we did it without any outside investors, and just the old-fashioned bootstrapped way, we built it into a national company. I've never been involved I've never run for political office. And like many of you, I am running because I'm fed up. I mean, like literally, I've had it and it's enough. I have felt in the past that I was electing one thing, and I felt burned that I got something else. Have you ever felt that way? And I'm trying to bring some common sense business leadership back to Washington, D.C. I've been blessed to be able to live the American dream, so I know a thing or two about budgeting. By the way, this country would change if it was just a requirement that everyone had to own a business and live within a budget for 5 years and meet a payroll for 5 years. Before they ever voted on a federal spending bill. It would change the country fundamentally. So some of the things the common sense that I want to bring is, what about the border? Like, does it make sense to you that we're securing the borders of other countries before we secure our own? I have been down there. I've stood at the southern border, and it's maddening to see what's going on. How about trading stocks? Do you think it makes sense that members of Congress can trade stocks of companies that appear before their own committee? Why do we allow it? Why do voters allow that? In fact, why are people allowed to trade stocks at all? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. What about this as common sense? How about we have an amendment that if members of Congress won't balance the budget, they don't get paid? I am one of you who has just had enough and I've decided to take a stand. I'm standing up. I'm going to Washington. I'm applying for a job with you. I'm asking you, send me in. Send me in. I will do and say the things that you want to do. You send me to Washington, you're coming with me. You'll be my vote. I'll be accountable to you. We're going to save this country. We're going to retake the Senate. We're going to take the House. We're going to defeat Biden and elect Trump. Please stand with me.
All right. I'm so excited, you guys. The first time we tried the electronic voting, it took us like an hour and a half to audit, and they're already back. So I'm so excited that we're getting the system down and it's working. I wish, again, if you're state delegates, just wait. Yesterday I was talking to someone and we were talking about how the state votes work, and we were talking about how long it takes. And I've been there when they voted only paper and it took 7 hours to count a vote. Now it only takes like 2. But it takes longer than I want it to. And I was telling her how we do it. She's like, why doesn't the state just do that? I don't know. Anyway, we do it right. All right, so we are ready to see the results. Haley, do you want to go to that results? Okay, now we're going to make it bigger. And what I want you to do is, it's in alphabetical order, so find your name. Okay, that looks good. And we're just going to scroll slow, but not too slow. Just make sure that you got your vote counted the way you wanted it to.
We go bigger?
A little bigger, a little bigger. Oh, a little slower. Okay, that looks good. Okay, go back to the top and let's go a little slower. Okay, very good. Okay. Stop before you get to the bottom. Can we go a little faster? This speed. Just looking for my own name.
Where was mine?
Some people did put their first name first, and so they're swapped, so watch for that. Okay, and if anybody does have an issue, instead of yelling out, we can just come and see Brandan.
Motion to skip. Just resolve.
Hey, just hang on, we've got it. Everybody has the right to make sure their vote was recorded the way they wanted it to be. Okay, stop it there. All right, now, as we scroll down, we will show you the results. Oh, where are the results, Brandon? Okay, there they are. Okay, there you go. Okay, Chad Bennion received 191 votes for 52.47%. Cory Green received 9 votes for 2.47%. Don Ipson received 162 for 44.51%. To be the convention candidate, you need to hit a 70% threshold. No candidate did, so the lowest candidate drops off and we vote again. So, is that open, Brandon? Oh, actually, don't open it. Never mind. Okay, so what we do is we give each candidate 1 minute to try to earn your vote again, and then we'll open the polls. So we go, Chad is first and then Don. So Chad, you're up, and then Don.
Listen, I want to thank you for that first round. I want you to know that if I'm your state senator, I will never go the signature route. It's the only way, because I believe in being accountable to you. So I ask for your vote on this round. Please help me become the Republican nominee. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys again for being here. Cory, I want to thank you for your service as a veteran, and we'll be forever grateful. We're really positive of all our veterans. We wouldn't have what we have today without them. You know, there's a reason Mike Lee and the 4 other representatives in our county endorsed me. I'm the best prepared. I have the seniority. I love this place, and I want to go back to serve you one more time. Thank you.
All right. Again, I think it's the bottom QR code for Senate 29 people. Make sure it says Senate 29 ballot 2. That is the one. Is it open? It is open, so you may begin voting. Try it again. It should be open. Thank you. Okay, let's remember, don't call out. Come to the mic and be recognized. That's how we keep order in the meetings. But if it is a tie, they both go to the primary in June. In our bylaws, you have to have a 70% win at convention to be the only candidate to go to the primary. This way, so if a candidate doesn't get 70%, then the two top candidates go to the primary, and the voters decide.
Is Cory green on the actual ballot?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. Any votes cast for Cory Green because he has been taken off will be counted as a no vote. Okay, as you're voting, Brandan is asking me to remind you that if you put the first and last name in the correct boxes, that helps with the auditing. Because when they come to a name that doesn't match, then you got to figure out why. It's usually because the names are reversed. Okay, computer rank, how many do we have left? 4? Anybody in the audience that we're still waiting on that want to vote? Okay, we're waiting for the 4 remaining over here. All right, folks. The poll is now closed for Senate 29. Poll watchers, please go with Brandan and Barry back to the poll watching area. All right, next up we're going to keep going with our speeches for a minute. So we're going to go with Congressional District 2, Jensen, and then Laurie. And then we're going to go with Governor Cox, Jorgensen, and Lyman. And we'll go to that point and see how far we get. Okay, so 3 minutes each for each of you. Jensen's first, and then Malloy. And then over here. This is repeated by Kobe, I'm so sorry. I meant Jenkins. I missed the case. Sorry. Yeah, so Jenkins and then Malloy. All right?
I think you know who my name is now. Anything else you want to do? Okay. My name is Colby Jenkins. I'm a resident of Washington County. I live here with you. I'm a candidate for the U.S. Congress. Now, I put aside my remarks last night because there's a more urgent issue I need to discuss with you. I have a few notes. Let me just go through a few notes. As you know, it's been alluded to earlier, our national debt is at $34.5 trillion. Discretionary spending is increasing 20 times faster than population growth since 2018. Interest alone on our debt is about to pass our total defense spending. Interest alone. Meanwhile, almost 4 million immigrants have crossed our border illegally in the last 3 years, every year. That's equivalent to an entire state of Utah that's come across our border illegally every year. Now, in spite of all of that, yesterday, my opponent, Celeste Malloy, voted for a $1.2 trillion omnibus package that was negotiated behind closed doors and given to her to review in less than 24 hours. Over 1,000 pages in less than 24 hours. Now let me just read a few things to you. Senator Lee described this as, I predicted that this bill would contain hundreds of earmarks. And it does, of course, we know that. And I predicted that it would do nothing to address the massive deficit and debt that we face. It doesn't. And I predicted that it would do nothing to force the Biden administration to secure the border and stop the invasion. And it doesn't. Unforgivable. Here are just a few samplings of the earmarks that are in it. 400,000 of your dollars is going to an organization that gives out transition clothing for trans minors in Wisconsin. Over $2 million of your taxpayers' dollars is going to equipment at facilities performing late-term abortions. A multi-million-dollar research project is in place now for gun confiscation. And the best one, $500 million is going to the government of Jordan to help secure and protect Their border, not our border. $500 million. Imagine what we could do with $500 million on our border. Now for me, if that isn't offensive enough, it's personally offensive to me, because she justified that vote on the backs of our military, saying that she's happy because we're going to get more money. As a veteran, having worn the uniform for 25 years and with friends in the ground who have served, that is highly offensive. We serve not for money, and you cannot bribe us to trample on our Constitution or watch our government go off the fiscal cliff. If that's for me, my response would be, hell no.
With that introduction, I'm Celeste Malloy. I've been at the State's Congress for almost 4 months now, and I did take a controversial vote yesterday, and I'm here 24 hours later to talk to you about it. That's called leadership, and that's what I signed up for. So when I ran, I started last June, and I said, I want to represent you in Congress. I've lived in this district my entire adult life, and I want representation. I want representation to mean something. So I have tried to set a new standard for returning and telling you, especially when I take controversial votes. I go on the radio, I send out a newsletter. You never have to wonder what I'm doing. It's really easy to find out. So let's talk about the minibus. I voted yesterday on a spending bill that was made up of 6 appropriations bills that went through the committee process. They were written by Republican subcommittee chairs. They were marked up in committee. We had hearings on them. They went through regular order right up until yesterday. Yesterday we voted on 6 of them at the same time. I would rather we took 6 separate votes yesterday. But the reality is it comes to the floor and I get to vote yes or no. Anybody who tells you that's not true is either not paying attention or thinks you're not paying attention. I'll tell you why I voted yes. Mike Johnson is the most conservative Speaker of the House we've had in my lifetime. And he went to bat on those bills. He went to bat with a Democrat White House and a Democrat Senate to keep Republican priorities in those bills. And I'm also going to use notes because I want to make sure I don't forget the really important ones. So here are some of the conservative wins. I'm not going to lie, it was a tough vote. There are things in those bills I don't like. But these are the things that I decided were worth getting in there, and we'll keep fighting on the other things. The Hyde Amendment is in all 6 bills. The Hyde Amendment says no federal dollars can be spent on an abortion. That's a very amendment. No federal funds can be used to advocate for gun control. That's a one about. In a closely divided Congress with a 2-vote majority in the House, we broke the parity between defense and non-defense spending. For years, in order to increase defense spending, we've had increased non-defense spending. That's the amount. Yesterday, we increased defense spending while cutting non-defense spending, and that is going to pay off for generations. I'm going to quickly run through some of this, so don't clap because I only got 30 seconds. $51 billion from DEI for the federal workforce and the military. We cut it. They can't spend money on that. Cuts to UNRWA. Remember the UN group that supported Hamas invading Israel? Cut them. Claws back $20 billion of the IRS funds from the IRA. Cuts climate change funding from the federal government and the military. Defunds the Wuhan Institute. Remember them? Claws back $2.6 billion in COVID funds. Increases ICE detention beds. You care about the border? We need more detention beds. We don't have anywhere to hold someone. Increases funding for the border patrol. Actually adds funding for the border security $10. So at that time, I'm honored to make a bet. I will keep representing the work of the local Governor Cox.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's such an honor to be here with you today. It's a beautiful day. Thank you for sacrificing. Thank you for giving up your Saturday to be here. Thank you so much. I'm so proud to be able to serve as the governor of the greatest state in the United States, and I'm so excited to be here in Washington County. We just finished a legislative session, I want to thank your legislators. You have some of the best legislators in the state right here in Washington County. You should be proud of the work that they're doing. I am. Now, I would say that the theme of that legislative session was really about empowering Utahns to keep Utah strong. Now, I made some promises to you, and I want to talk to you about those promises over the past 3 years. I promised you that we would cut taxes. Before I became governor, the largest tax cut in our state's history was $240 million. Over the past 3 years, we have now cut $1.3 billion in taxes, 4 times more than any governor in our state's history. I promised you that I would protect our Second Amendment rights. And I became the first governor in our state's history to sign constitutional carry. After it had been vetoed twice, I signed constitutional carry. I promised you that we would protect life, all life, even the life of the unborn. And I signed the most comprehensive suite of abortion regulations in our state's history. I promised you that we would protect the border. I've been working with Governor Abbott to make that happen. I'm the governor that the other Republicans selected to push back on Joe Biden 3 times at the White House to let them know that this is unacceptable what the federal government is doing at our border. We stopped DEI. We stopped ESG. We stopped all the other alphabet things too, right? I believe that conservative values and principles lead to prosperity. We passed, for the first time in our state's history, comprehensive school choice. And we gave our teachers the largest raise in our state's history. We did both of those things. Now look, I love this state. It's been an honor to serve. This will be my last election. I'm so proud of the people that I've been able to work with over the course of the last 3.5 years as your governor. Experts have told us that there are 4 things that make every society happy. Okay? Faith, family, friendships, and work that serve other people. We are the happiest state on earth because we get that. I'm a conservative. I'm proud of it. I'm not angry about it because we are the greatest state on earth. Thanks.
And then we have a video from Lyman, is that right? Okay.
How y'all doing? Oh, come on now, how y'all doing? Washington County, I'm glad to be with you here today. Many of you know me, I was the former chairman of the Utah Republican Party. So you've seen me down in this area a few times. That being said, as I ran the party, you gotta meet a lot of me. I gotta spend a lot of time with a lot of you. That's why in this election, when I got in the race, I knew that I was the only person that was not going to gather signatures. That I'm the only person in the gubernatorial race that put you first. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I continue to show up. We hear things. Over the last few years, what is Utah? We're one of the best managed states, sure. Can we do better? Absolutely. What concerns me? I got 5 little girls. Those little girls mean everything to me. And I grew up in a state that was so good to me. And watching the direction of our state over the past few years, I worry that it's not going to be there for them. When you look at our budget, when you look at our state spending, over the past 10 years, our budget's gone from $14 billion to $29.5 billion in 10 years. The population has grown 14%. In the past 3 years, we've gone from taking $20.5 billion from the federal for our budget to $29.5 billion. That's $8 billion in 3 years. We're no better than Washington, D.C. in our spending habits. And what are we spending it on? This is your money. This is my money. Do you think we need a baseball stadium that's $1 billion in taxpayer money? Do you think we need an NHL team that is $1 billion of taxpayer money? We have gone to taxing for things that we want, not for things that we need. And it's time to put government back in the box where it belongs. People have asked me, what do you think is going to stop Utah from turning blue? Let me tell you. The biggest mistake we can make is to start appointing our elected officers. You've seen this being pushed lately, from the top down, to appoint the treasurer, the auditor. You've seen it. You've even seen who the governor should appoint the school board. I don't know about y'all. That don't make sense to me. And we've got to do better. That's the quickest way to turn our state blue. It needs to be here for my kids. And why do I get so passionate about all this? Why does it matter? Because we can do better, and we should do better. And I know that our best days are still ahead. There's so much that we can do, and I'm here with you to work for it. I'm going to talk about it.
Hello, I'm Phil Lyman. First of all, I want to thank you as delegates. You're the ones that drive our message of the party. You maintain our standards. As I go around the state, people are concerned. They're concerned about our schools, concerned about our borders, concerned about their families and their businesses. I could go on about all of the things that we're concerned about, but what I can't do is sit back. I can't sit back and watch as our state colludes with big government, colludes with big environmentalists, colludes with national interests, international interests, to take away the rights of the people of Utah. I've watched our coal-fired power plants be destroyed, thousands of jobs lost in the process, all in an effort to appease some climate-driven agenda. That is not what Utah is. That's not who we are. People have asked me, what will you do as governor? What are you going to do that's different? And the answer is, I believe in freedom. I believe that freedom works. I believe that people, given the opportunity, will start good businesses, will raise good families. The American dream is not to become a billionaire, but to have a family, to have kids, to be able to go to the ball game, to be able to take a vacation. Right now in Utah, it's almost impossible for someone coming out of college to afford a home, to afford a family. That is not the way it should be. A governor has to stand up. You don't have to wonder if I will stand up to tyrannical government pressures or to corruption. I will. I have. I believe in the Declaration of Independence, and the words there, that we have not only a right but a duty to stand up against these pressures. That's what government is supposed to do. That's what I would do as governor. I'd love to tell you all the things, all the specifics, and I've given a great deal of thought to this. You can go to my website, lineupforutah.com, and see the videos that we've made, the messages that we have, whether it's talking about abortion or Second Amendment rights or any other number of issues. These things are very, very important to me. People are not looking for another politician, someone who checks which direction the wind is blowing before they make a decision. They want a representative who checks the compass, not a weather vane. I've always said that honest people have rights too, and the only hope they have is that other honest people will stand up. That's what you're doing as delegates. That's what we're doing as parents. I need your help. Right now, I really need your help. I want to help you. I want to help Utah. Let's do this together.
We're just about done, but we're going to go to our next bit of speeches. So let's go with Attorney General, starting with Brown, then Christensen, then a video by Mylar, and Terry.
Thank you, Lesa. And I've met a lot of you when I served as the state Republican Party chair. When I was elected, I was as tall as Carson was. So you can see the toll that it took. But one of the things that I really missed when I was party chair was the opportunity to go to all the different conventions, because I became party chair and then we had COVID. So thank you for your service. I am running for Attorney General because we have a problem. And that problem is we have a federal government But it's not only out of control in spending, as you've heard, it's out of control in terms of what it's doing and going into every aspect of your lives. Am I right? Every aspect of our lives. And that's the problem that we have right now with the federal government. And you know what's ironic? Is the federal government is doing things it has no business doing, but on the things that it should be doing, like securing our borders, it's not doing it. Do you see the problem? Do you see the irony of what's going on? When I worked with Senator Lee, we had a cabinet in the office in D.C., and this was a cabinet that, and just to show you who's really running this country. On top of the cabinet, in this particular year of the Obama administration, we had all the bills that were passed by Congress the previous year, about 600 pages. In the cabinet, we had all the new agency regulations, 60,000 pages. That'll give you, let that sink in. That's what we are facing. That's who's really controlling our country. The real battles in this country are not going to be fought in the halls of Congress. They're fought in the courtrooms. Let me give you an example quickly. Did you see what the EPA did just this last week? They're forcing car manufacturers to convert to hybrid and electric by 2032. How are they doing that? Did Congress pass that law? No. These are unelected, mid-level bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. who are making these decisions. This is why I'm running for Attorney General. There's a reason that Senator Mike Lee is supporting me in this race. It's because I have a track record of pushing back and knowing what it is that we can do as a state to ensure that the federal government doesn't encroach on our lives. Let me just finish with one thought. A number of years ago, the Supreme Court issued a decision involving a case that the opinion itself I really did not like. It was Justice Roberts' opinion, and as a conservative lawyer, I had real problems with it. But in one part of the decision, he said this: the states, and let me quote, the states are separate and independent sovereigns. Sometimes they need to act like it. My friends, that's why we're running to be Attorney General, because Utah is a separate and independent sovereign. It needs an Attorney General who will make sure that it acts like it. I'm Derek Brown. Thank you for your time and for your service.
I'm Christensen. I'm an American First candidate. I'm running for Attorney General, and I'm going to drain the Salt Lake Swamp. Let me tell you what I mean by that. When I say drain the swamp, I mean we have a culture of corruption in this state. I don't need to talk about the Fed yet. I'm talking about this state. And we have that culture of corruption because we have an utter lack of election integrity in this state, and I'm going to fix it. And let me start with this. How can you have election integrity when a legislator is telling you that you ought to take the Attorney General and make it an appointed position under the governor? That's not election integrity, because that's your voice that they're trying to take away. With the most important check against the powers of the other branches and officers of government, that's the Attorney General. And that's why I'm running in this race. When I saw that article back last September, that's when I jumped in. And here's my vision. A, election integrity. On day one, I will begin a full statewide transparent audit of our entire electoral system so that you vote and only your vote counts in this election. Two, I will be the top cop. The Attorney General is the top cop, but he can't be the top cop unless he has the relationships with law enforcement. The only members of law enforcement that are elected in the state are the county sheriffs. But they don't currently have that relationship with the Attorney General. They know when they go put their lives on the line, that the state Attorney General has their back, especially when they're fighting against the feds who are dumping illegal immigrants in our state. Which leads me to my third point. We're going to secure our border. Don't let anyone tell you that the immigration to the border, the legal aliens, that's a federal issue. It's not. If they are, they're just trying to neglect their duty. We have all the state laws in place. We have all the law enforcement in place. We have all the willpower in place to protect our borders, to protect our families from the scourge of the invasion of illegal immigrants that's happening. We just need an Attorney General that will do it. Let me tell you how I'll do it. I've been a litigator. I've been an attorney since 2009. I've practiced complex business litigation. I've practiced appellate litigation. But I've also practiced pro bono, protecting families against the power of the state when the state came and tried to take away their children. And unless you've had that experience where you know what it's like to fight the state, not just fight for the state, you don't understand what it's like when the people have to be protected from their own state. And that's what I will be as the state attorney general. I'll be your attorney, not the state's attorney. I've also been a CEO. I've run a company. I've made payroll. I've hired. I've fired. I know how to implement my vision on an office of 600 people. But let me tell you why I'm not running. I'm not running for power. I'm running to pull it down. I'm not running for fame. I have 4 kids that love and adore me, and that's all I need. But I will not let this state become California for my kids. I will not let the state act like a sanctuary state for my kids. I will not let the federal government come and take our public lands. I will stand for the rights of Utahns. I will stand for your rights, because I will be your attorney and state attorney general. I'm Chuck Ipson. Thank you.
Yeah, Mylar's first. Let's do his video first and then you, Rachel. Yes. Do we have a video? Sorry, just the video.
The duty of the Attorney General is, first of all, the chief law enforcement officer in the state. I am the only one that's actually prosecuted criminal cases. Our sheriffs are on the front lines of fighting crime. I have been working with them for the last 24 years as an attorney. For the last 24 years, I have been associated with the Alliance Defending Freedom. This is one of the premier organizations that was started to fight the ACLU. Please go to adflegal.org to find out more. And that way you'll find out more about me as a candidate. I am considered an honor guard attorney for providing hours and hours of free legal assistance to help people vindicate their constitutional rights. My name is Frank Myler, and I am the Second Amendment candidate for the state of Utah. I'm endorsed by Mitch Velos, the man who wrote Gun Rights in Utah. He's the prominent attorney that fights Second Amendment cases in the state of Utah. Also, Clark, who's also one of the leaders in this, has also endorsed my campaign. Talk to anybody that knows anything about gun rights, and they will tell you to vote for Frank Myler for Utah Attorney General. One of the things I'm going to do as Attorney General is to fight to take back our land. They should not be federal lands. They should be Utah lands owned and controlled by Utahns. I will also work with the legislature, and I will also bring lawsuits to make this happen.
Good afternoon, Dixie. How are you doing? I'm Rachel Terry, and I'm running for Attorney General. And over the last few weeks, I've met with hundreds of delegates, and it's been amazing. This is the most active and engaged group of delegates we've ever had, and it's because the issues in these elections are the most important we've ever had. And as I've talked to you, you've asked me hard questions and some fun questions, and I'm going to share with you some of the most frequently asked questions I've had, and I'm going to answer them for you. The first is, why am I qualified to be Utah's Attorney General? Most importantly, I'm a Utah attorney who's been representing Utahns in Utah's courts for the last 20 years. I spent 7 years in the Attorney General's office representing you in some of the most significant cases in our state's history, such as the Lauren McCluskey case and a $1 billion trade secret case, representing the Department of Corrections and Utah Highway Patrol and schools to try to make sure that we are creating the best law for the state of Utah. And now I'm the director of a state agency with a $200 million budget, 35 employees, that oversees the work of 40 attorneys. I don't need on-the-job training. I'm ready to start on day one. The second question that I get asked is, why am I running? Well, I can tell you why I'm not running, to have a new title. I'm running because I care about the state of Utah, and I'm a really good lawyer. And a really good lawyer makes a difference in important cases. And right now, we have some legal issues. It's life or death, especially for southern Utah. We have life or death issues involving our public lands. Because if we lose those cases, we lose our ranchers, we lose access to our lands, and we lose the Utah culture. The third question I get is, should the Attorney General be appointed? Should the Attorney General be appointed? No! No, that's crazy. And I'll fight that all day, every day. In addition, there needs to be space between our Attorney General and our Governor and our legislators so the Attorney General can hold them accountable. And then, the next question I get asked is, are you gathering signatures? The answer is no. Delegates, not dollars, should decide who's on the ballot. And finally, who's supporting me in this race? I get asked this all the time. It's the people who are actually doing the work for the states and other states right now. I've been endorsed by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who is fighting for you and for me on the border every day. I've been endorsed by Brian Tarbett, former Adjutant General of the Utah National Guard, who's in the office now. He's seen my work, he knows what I can do. I've been endorsed by Eric Clark, your county attorney, by sheriffs, by county commissioners, and most importantly, by the attorneys doing the work. And the final question, though, is for you to figure out about me. Why am I running? Because when I fight for Utah, you win.
All right, folks. I know we want results, but it's almost 1 and it takes an hour to get to Canal. So we are going to let these other folks do their 3-minute speeches quickly. So State Auditor, Cannon, and Hatch, and then our State Treasurer, Marlo Oaks, is running unopposed, but did buy a booth, so we're going to give him 3 minutes, and he needs to get over to there as well. And then our State School Board District, do you guys have to go over there? Okay, Brandan and Norton. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 minutes, hang in there, and then we'll give you the results.
Good afternoon. I'm Tina Cannon, and I'm running for State Auditor. Now, I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I'm an expert in one of those 2 things. So, why am I running for State Auditor? I get that question quite a bit. So when I was first elected in Morgan County as a commissioner, I came on after Morgan County had experienced an embezzlement of 100% of their general fund. And I came on in rural Utah with an accounting background and had to instigate change. And I was very fortunate that the current state auditor, who's an engineer, had my back through that process. I have experienced the office from both sides. I'm currently the senior policy advisor in the office, because after 28 years in the private sector representing taxpayers, John called me and said, I hear you're looking for something to do. Come work with me, we'll make a difference. And that's what we do every single day in the state auditor's office. We represent the taxpayer first and foremost. We're independently elected for a reason, and that independence needs to stay. We audit every agency in the state, every government agency. That's 1,800 agencies between the state, the counties, the cities, the school districts, and the universities. We have to be independent in order to give an honest review of statutory compliance and financial operation. That's crucial in this office. One of the reasons why I'm not soliciting endorsement or contributions from anyone that I will possibly audit in the next 4 years is to maintain that independence. It is crucial. In the state auditor's office, we do more than just that. We also are your transparency. If you haven't been to Transparent Utah, you need to go there now, transparent.utah.gov. We collect every financial transaction in the state. If you have a question over how your tax dollars are spent, you can find out where it's going right there. We've created all sorts of data analytics tools so that you can decide, is it being spent wisely, and you can hold your government officials responsible the same way we do. It's a very important part. The data analytics, we are cutting edge in Utah in the state auditor's office for those data analytics. This last thing I want you to remember is my 28 years in representing taxpayers has given me a great understanding of exactly whose money this is. I spent 28 years telling people how much they owe. And I can guarantee you, you pay more in state taxes than you do to the federal government. We should be using that money for exactly what we said we were going to use it for and nothing else. I want you to remember me on April 27th because I know I will be remembering you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Ricky Hatch and I'm running for your state auditor. Symbols are important. Green lights mean go, the heart means love, and the cross is the most recognizable symbol of Christianity. And although they're not quite as obvious or as meaningful as the cross or a green light, pocket protectors have long been a symbol of serious brain power and total nerdiness. Pocket protectors have one purpose: to protect pockets from misuse and wear and tear from the pens and pencils that we shove into our pockets. The Office of the State Auditor also has but one purpose: to protect your pockets from waste, fraud, abuse, inefficiency, and the wear and tear of government shoving itself where it doesn't belong, in your pockets. Now, I'm a CPA, and I'm an auditor, and I'm running to be your pocket protector. I want to protect your pockets against the extreme policies of Joe Biden and establishment Democrats, but as your pocket protector, I must also guard against our own state government and ensure that they are also following the rules and staying out of your pockets as much as possible. The state constitution directs the state auditor specifically to do one thing: audit. It is and should be all they do. I've been auditing for 3 decades. I've conducted financial, IT, forensic, compliance, and performance audits on entities ranging from small county departments to giants such as Wells Fargo and Universal Studios. Good auditors expose and eliminate waste, fraud, abuse, and inefficiency. Auditors provide transparency so you can hold your government accountable. Good auditors protect your pockets. When John Doodle asked me to sit on this advisory committee 11 years ago, I knew things were going to be different. And I'll continue his good work because I understand good governance and I understand good auditing. But I'm more than just an audit nerd. I'm also a leader. I was elected president of the Utah Association of Counties, and I serve on the board of directors of the National Association of Counties. I sit on the executive committee that helps create national standards for accounting standards for all state and local governments. I have worked with legislators at the state and federal level to establish transparency, accountability, and good internal control procedures. I've testified before Congress twice. I don't just talk the talk, I've walked the walk, and I am ready to do the job from day one. You want a nerd securing your inalienable rights and property to the money in your pocket. And in this race at this time, you want a pocket protector. And I proudly proclaim myself as a calculator-using, spreadsheet-loving, money-saving, constitution-studying, God-fearing, church-going, auditing kind of nerd. My name is Ricky Hatch. I'm a nerdy auditing CPA. I will protect your pockets, and I ask for your vote.
Hi, I'm Marlo Oaks. I'm the state treasurer. All right, I wasn't with my 6-year-old. I heard what my 6-year-old nephew said the other day getting into a car. This car stinks. It smells like old people. Now, children tell the truth. You notice that? Children tell the truth. We have a serious problem in this country. I believe one of the biggest problems in this country is the pursuit of truth. We need to commit to pursuing the truth. I'm finding that I have common ground with people I never thought I would have had common ground with. People like Barry Weiss, the former New York Times columnist, Naomi Wolf, who was in the Clinton administration, Michael Schellenberg, the environmentalist,
What do they all have in common? They care about the truth. They are honestly pursuing the truth. And if you have that, then we can have an American system like our founders imagined it. We built this country based on the pursuit of truth. The capital markets are based on information. And the flow of information is critical to the capital markets, our financial markets. We have the broadest, deepest financial markets in the world. I would have never thought that anybody could capture those financial markets because there's so much power dispersed across all different entities. But what we've seen with ESG is the ability to consolidate power or the consolidation of power because all of these entities like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street have become so powerful that the markets can now be captured. This is incredibly dangerous, but that information flow is so important. If we do not allow the First Amendment in this country, we'll not only lose the country, we'll lose the markets, we'll lose everything that we have. We have to stand up for the First Amendment rights of everyone to allow people to pursue the truth. We have to be able to be wrong. You and I have the right to be wrong. That is one of the fundamental rights of this country, is the ability to say something that may not be true. But now we're hearing the concept of misinformation and disinformation. Thomas Jefferson said here, meeting at the University of Virginia 6 years before he died, here we are not afraid to follow truth wherever it may lead, nor to tolerate any error so long as reason is left free to combat it. We need more information, not less information. So we must stand for truth. And when we do, and we are pursuing the truth and we stand for truth, we cannot elevate other things ahead of that. Kindness should not be elevated above the truth. Thank you very much.
About curriculum, competency, and political agendas. We need someone who can be a voice for parents, a voice for students, a voice for teachers who just want to teach the subjects they love. We need the school board members who support conservative reforms coming out of the legislature, not school board members who oppose them. Our educational system is headed in the wrong direction. I believe Ronald Reagan when he said we're only one generation away from losing our freedom, and we're there. We must safeguard our kids' education. We must raise the bar here, and we can get there by prioritizing academic excellence and empowering parent and teacher engagement with traditional values. The state board brags about their portrait of a graduate, where 9 of 10 students graduate, but half of those can't read, write, or do math at grade level. We must get back to teaching kids how to think, not what to think. The second way I can raise the bar is by empowering parents and teachers. The family is the fundamental unit of society. Parents loan their children to the schools to educate them in core academic subjects Let's ensure that our teachers can focus on what they do best, which is education. We must instill our values into our children and the future generations that come after us. And we need a lot more of our Southern patriotic values being instilled on that State Board of Education, not their values. If you are done with graphic porn in school libraries, I will be your voice. If you're tired of revisionist history, I will be your voice. If you believe in equal opportunities over equity and protecting girls' spaces, I will be your voice. I appreciate your time. I appreciate those of you who attended the debate, those of you who watched it. I appreciate those of you who were at the various meet and greets that we have had, and I appreciate those of you who are still sitting here today. Thank you very much for your service to the Washington County Republican Party. My name is Kristen Norton, and I'm running for re-election to the State Board of Education. I am a teacher. I am the only classroom full-time teacher on the state board, and I have been a teacher in a 5th grade classroom right here in Washington County for 28 years. I love my students, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to stand with my peers as teachers. Secondly, I am a lifetime resident of Southern Utah. I graduated from West Elementary, no longer here, but we all know West Elementary. I graduated from Woodward Junior High School. I graduated from Dixie High School. And I graduated from Southern Utah University with my bachelor's and my master's degree in education. I am an educator. I am the daughter of Hal and Odine Norton, both of which were residents of Washington County, longtime residents of Washington County, and also public educators. I am a product of education. I'm going to disbar the rest of my speech because I want to address 2 quick facts, and I know that you'd like me to go shorter rather than longer. So number 1, let me make it perfectly clear. I will not and I do not stand for porn in any of our schools. When the Utah legislature first brought this up, when it was brought to the school's attention, we got together. We decided absolutely no, and the best way to do this is to handle it quickly. Secondly, I do not support DEI, and I have got several different voting records to show that. The first thing that we did when I was elected and brought into the State Board of Education, on the day that I took my oath of office, we passed a proclamation against DEI. It said, we expect all children to learn, we want teachers to support all children, and we think that all children should have an opportunity to learn. We did not use the language CRT because at that time, there was the 1619 Project and many, many others. But the standards of that particular curriculum was not allowed. Later on, the bill came from the legislature. We added that language into ours along with training for our students. Last year, Representative Jimenez added more tightening language to the idea. We added that exact language to our rule. And finally, just this year, Representative Hall made a bill, and we have added that language in before it was this time. Thank you. My name is Kristen Norton, and I ask for your vote for the Utah State Board of Education.
All right. Yay, we got through all of our candidates. That makes me so happy. Okay, Haley, you ready to pull up the results? All right, we're going to make it bigger, and we're going to scroll through the sodium so you can make sure that your vote is counted the way you want it to be. Let's go to 150. Okay. All right, Chad Bennion got 58.03%, and Don Ipson received 41.97%. Congratulations to both candidates because they will both go on to the primary. We did our job as a nominating commission, a nominating committee body, and have nominated 2 candidates who will go to the primary and the voters will choose. We're excited for both of them and congratulate them both on moving forward to the primary that will be held in June. All right, now let's go back to our reports. First off, let me ask, is Gil on the list? You're here, Gil? Where are you? Are you over there? Gil, there you are, Gil. Okay, let me ask Gil and Evan how excited you are to come and report. You're good to pass? You're good to come. Okay, come, Gil. And is Evan still here? Okay, Evan's still here. So let's have Gil give us a report about the county, and then we will have Evan give us a report about the Senate. Again, this time, 2 minutes. Okay? Let's take shots.
I can tell you on the county level, the battle has been in the trenches like you would not believe with our lame federal government. I can't say too much because we probably have a few of them here being spies. But I can tell you right now that Eric Clark, the entire Northern Corridor team, has never been so mistreated by our government. Now, we can change that by changing some of the ways that this bureaucracy has gone run amok. Because we actually need our clean air, our clean water, which they say we don't care about, but we do. And in reality, the Northern Corridor cleans our air. When we build reservoirs, we have pure water. There's hundreds of miles of pipeline, which are simply trying to reuse the very water that we use one day and transfer it to a purification plant and get it from one side of the county to the other. But do you know how much time it takes to build a simple reservoir? It took 5 years for them to build the Hoover Dam. Guess what it cost? How many years it's taken to build simple cheap Toker reservoir? 20 years. What a ridiculous thing that we're up against every day. But I guarantee you this, that when it comes down to your basic needs, we're going to keep taxes low. We built the county building, which everyone says, oh, what did they spend for that? Not one penny of added tax or bonding. That was all from savings like property and tax about. And it's a beautiful facility that saves money because we don't have departments scattered in other buildings, which guess what? We still own and we get to rent out and make money off of those. So the point being is that every single day our dedication is to all of you, and what you're having to do each time you get up in the morning and leave your house, the last thing you need to worry about is county government. We are here for you. Call me, 680-9853 if you have any concerns. Thank you for being great representatives of your party.
So thank you. It's a great opportunity to be with you today and to be before you, and I know that everybody wants to go home and do something different, so let me just be sure. I will tell you, and I will validate, that the Sunshine Caucus is alive and well in the Utah State Legislature. Each and every one of us played a major role in legislation throughout this year and representing you as best we possibly can. To put it in perspective, about 84% of the legislators sit in 4 Wasatch Front Utah counties. Senator Ipson and I are actually the only 2 in leadership that do not sit on the Wasatch Front. Let me just bring to highlight one thing, and there's all sorts of bills that have been talked about, but one that really went under the radar, and I want you to go home and look at, is SB 57. Some of the challenges we're facing right now with the federal government are not coming from Congress. They're coming out of federal agencies under the direction of President Biden. Let me give you one example. Now, we don't think too much about clean air down here because we have it. We're blessed with it. But on the Wasatch Front, it's a big deal. And containment and meeting these guidelines for the federal regulations. Our air is so much cleaner on the Wasatch Front than it was 10, 20 years ago, but yet the guidelines keep going up and up and up to where literally we're crossing a point where we cannot reach attainment. And then if you read this week, did you read about the tailpipe emissions coming out of the agencies? That means that our trucks our farm equipment and everything will not even be, you can't even purchase them either. You think an electric tractor is really gonna work on the road? I don't think so. SB 57 gives us a tool to say, no, we're not going to follow that guideline. I won't belabor all the details, just go home and look at it. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Myself, Barry, and Brandon will give a report, and then we're going to do our bylaw thing. Do we need the straw poll open still, or are we good to close it? Okay. Let's close the straw poll. Open? Okay, never mind. We'll keep it open for a few more minutes. Okay. First, before I start my remarks, Laurie gave me a number. You guys are the best. We just collected $1,128. That will pay for this convention. Thank you so much. I appreciate the generosity of everyone. It helps keep our party running, and I appreciate it so much. If anybody knows anything about me politically, you know that caucus convention is my passion. When I ran 3 years ago for this position, my theme was "Come caucus with us." We've used that theme throughout two caucuses now, and that is still my theme, "Come caucus with us." So how do we get people to come caucus with us? That's been on my mind a lot, especially when we tried so hard to get a larger turnout at caucus, and we did get a larger, but not anywhere near enough. Not anywhere near enough to say we represent the people. We represent 10% of the people. And that brings question into caucus and convention, and if we are relevant, and if we really represent. And I want every one of us to commit to figure out how we get people to come caucus with us. Some of the ideas that I have had is, will you go to the next slide? We need to share our message. The mission of the Washington County Republican Party is to communicate with, educate, motivate, and unify Republicans and others who share similar conservative values and principles in order to elect Republican candidates and to continually promote the principles espoused by the Constitution of the United States and the Republican Party platform. How do we unite? How do we communicate? How do we educate, motivate, elect, and promote? We need to convert others. We need to convert them to our system. We need to convert them to our process. So how do we convert? And this is where I think we're getting it wrong, and I hope that we will be committed to get it right and do it better. I was talking to a friend, I don't know, it's been a year or two ago, and his daughter had come to a meeting with us who was 17. And it was a heated meeting. There were some things said that probably shouldn't have been said. And he told me on his way home, he had a very interesting conversation with his 17-year-old daughter, who said, "Dad, you take me to church every week. You teach me to be civil to people, and I just watched a group of people not act that way, who all tell us that they're good, religious people. We have got to make sure our political life resembles our religious life." I think that's where we're failing. We can't be strong and we can't believe in our principles and we can't share those principles. But we need to share those principles in the way that it will convert others, in the way that it will strengthen our caucus convention. Folks, if we don't do this, we will lose it. We're only one of like 5 states that even have a caucus left, and Iowa caucus is not a caucus, it's a primary. So they don't count. If we cherish and love this caucus as much as we do, we have got to do our part to strengthen it, and to encourage people to come and participate and be with us. And I just encourage you, you're going to hear this from me as long as I'm chair. We have got to get people to come caucus with us. We have got to be truly representative of all of our people, all of our Republicans, not just the 10% who show up. So with that being said, I will turn it to, let me make sure I said everything I want to say. We closed it. We'll open it back up. Will you ask Brandan to open it back up? He probably heard me say close it and closed it, so we'll open it back up. Anyway, I want you to know, that was kind of a really serious note, but I love every one of you. Last night as I was saying my prayers, I was like, please, Holy Father, just help us be a good nominating body. Help us to be civil and encourage others to want to be a part of this wonderful party and this wonderful caucus convention. And I just encourage us to continue to do so. Thank you. We will hear from Barry and then Brandan. Both of them have said that they don't have a ton to say. I'm excited they're going to take a minute. We've never done this before. At the state convention, they always have the full officers report. And I'm like, why don't we do that here? Okay, we're going to do it. So they were happy. So Barry, you're up, and then Brandan.
President, it is going to be short and sweet. About 12 years ago, I was campaign manager for my ran for Congress. And we lost to Stewart back in the day. And we spent a year going back and forth, Davis County, back up here, back and forth, spent so many hours together with the candidates. A lot of things were said about how they were going to do, what they were going to do, who was going to be best, who was going to be worst, you know, this person cheated, this person did this or that. But for the 90% of the time, we were the main thing, keeping the main thing. What is it? Is this the Democratic Party? No, we're Republicans. Remember that you are here to help and learn and teach and grow with your precincts, with your neighbor, with our elected officials. Not to just always only speak up if you have something bad to say. There's so many good things happening too that we need to remember that. Remember who we are. I appreciate you guys are here spending on a Saturday. I'm pretty sure it's hard to sit down and listen to a lot of people. And maybe your candidate isn't going through, or maybe they are, or maybe they didn't do the thing that you thought they should do, or the other person said something that you disagree with. If that happens, that your person doesn't make it through, or something happens, don't disappear. Don't go back in the shadow and say, oh, well, I'm done. Because you can still do so much good in lifting each other. That's all I have to say. That's my report is, remember, we keep the main thing the main thing. And what is it? Well, we hear what everyone's running on, you know, and sometimes we hear it for years and years and nothing happens, right? So we get frustrated. But don't disappear. We had over half the delegates not come back after 2 years. We want you to stay and be part of that leadership and help us be better. Thank you for all the candidates and all the incumbents and all you guys that are here. I really appreciate you very, very much. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming out today. Appreciate everybody being here. I know you didn't come out to see the Secretary of the County Party speak. So I'll give a quick short, I got a secretary chair over here. This past year in January, my wife and I had an opportunity to go to Spain. We saw the Cathedral of Seville, and in this cathedral there's a tower, there's a bell tower, and the bell tower has many bells that ring 15, 30, 45 in every hour. And I was surprised because as we were up there, a lot of the bells no longer ring. They have one bell that stands out and one bell that's dedicated to ring And so we stood up there and we watched it. It was pretty moving. It's 37 stories above the ground. And it got me thinking about our bell, our one standard and our standard bell that we have, the Liberty Bell. Many of you know that the Liberty Bell has an inscription on it, and the inscription on it is, "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." It's a scripture from Leviticus 25:10. And that scripture stands out to me and reminds me of us fighting for liberty. The definition of liberty is the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. And so I'd just like to remind each and every one of you that are out here today, you are fighting for that cause of liberty. You are out here promoting your candidate, your way, your values, and trying to keep liberty alive. And I want to thank you for that, and I enjoy serving as your secretary. We'll have another year of good times. Thank you.
We are so blessed. All right, if I could have the sponsor of the bylaw come to this mic, and the bylaws committee come to this mic. Yes, okay, now each of you will have 2 minutes to present the bylaw and speak to it, and then the bylaws committee will give their recommendation, and they will have 2 minutes.
Okay, it's super important to realize that a supermajority when voting overrides even the executive branch in the United States government. So why does Washington County Republican Party change the threshold from 70% or even to 80% to just that supermajority? Another point is the need for a candidate to reach out to the delegates at the county convention is unnecessary if they're already guaranteed to go to the primary, regardless of the convention. That negates every delegate here. And because it's almost impossible to get 70 or 80%. You saw today, 50% is usually where our elections come in. And what's the purpose of the convention for the delegates to vote if their vote is valid, or voided, sorry. An unlimited number of candidates on a primary ballot will result in a very small percentage of votes needed to become the party nominee. In the last gubernatorial race, there were 5 primary people on the ballot, and Governor Cox won by 37% of the Republican vote. What is the reasoning behind 60 or 70 or 80% threshold at a convention when the primary is not even a majority? This just makes it easier for money to override the will of the majority. More primary candidates will not increase people's chances to vote. It waters down the value of the caucus meeting, which is the first best step for representative government in your own neighborhoods. Uniting and engaging like-minded citizens, then city leaders and county, then your state. Being closest to the people is the best, and I've never had a candidate reach out to me personally outside the caucus system. I'm limited to the mailers, the radio ads, newspaper flyers, and social media, but the county and state convention candidates are calling, sitting down kneecap to kneecap, and they're discussing the real issues.
Okay, Brent is representing the bylaws committee.
Thank you. First of all, let me be clear that the Constitution and Bylaws Committee, and if I say we, that's who I'm talking about, feels very strongly that the caucus convention system is critical, and we support that completely. Most of the concerns that you just heard had to do with HB 54 and the signature gathering process. We also sympathize with all of the concerns with that process. And are very concerned about watering down the primary and having multiple candidates and not having a clear winner. But that's a problem of the HB 54 signature process, and the committee is trying to combat that. I happen to be on the county executive committee. I was the Washington County Republican Treasurer in about 1990, when the threshold was lowered from 70 to 60. And the reason that was argued was to try to give the Republican candidates a better chance to win in the general election. Believe it or not, we had Democrat elected officials back then. And so it kind of made sense to lower that. But now, the Republican will win, especially here, almost every time. And so if this convention does not produce 2 candidates, the public will not have a chance to even have a choice. And that was the argument they used against for SB 54 to create more primaries. The state convention had an opportunity back then to raise the threshold to 70, and they didn't. If they had, I'm convinced we would not have signatures or SB 54. So the Constitution Bylaw Committee feels like if we keep the 70, that will be a defense against signatures, and at some point give our legislators a chance to get rid of SB 54, because they will know that the nominating convention will nominate multiple candidates. Well, two candidates is all. Thank you.
How this debate works is we will have the for mic over here, the against mic over here. You will have 1 minute, and we go back and forth. Okay? We have, this debate was to take 20 minutes, and we're at 16:20, and we're at 16 right now. When the time is up, we vote. So we will begin with the for 1 minute.
I support this. I support this bylaw change because when the higher you go, the more you're going to have incumbents remaining in office. Look what happened today. Only one person. Everyone ran unopposed except for one person. If you're thinking about running for office and you see that the threshold is 70% to win in the convention, well, I'm not going to run. It's going to be too hard to beat. Because the incumbent already has that name recognition as the incumbent, it makes it more difficult. So what's too high? 89%? You're just going to have these people in office for a lifetime. I think having people run is a healthy thing. And if you lower it back down to 60%. And also, this 70% threshold that we're raising to was supposed to get people to go against signature gathering. The higher you raise it, the more people are going to say, I'm not going to be able to make it at the convention, might as well just gather signatures. So I think it encourages people to gather signatures if you raise the percentage higher. 60%, I think, encourages people to run. They think they can win at the convention.
Dave Pope, I'm the current bylaws chair for Washington County. And originally opposed going back down to 60%. One, we just changed it back up to 70%. Two, is because we want to send 2 people out of this caucus to the primary. And 3, we were told by leadership in the state that if we're going to have a chance to get rid of the signature gathering, we needed to bring up the percentage of caucus. And that's why we're against this.
Madam Chair, of all the delegates, I would like to implore us to let this debate happen. The reason it keeps coming up is because there's a principle involved. And I would like to offer a friendly amendment. Can we do that?
Yes.
I would like to
10 words or less.
A friendly amendment that would change the threshold to 66%. Come hell or high water, you can put those words in there if you want and just leave it there. 2/3 is a spiritual concept that our founding fathers found. It's the way in Republican organizing.
Okay, wait. You're speaking to make the motion.
Oh, sorry.
Get a second, and then you can speak to it.
And then I'll speak to it. Okay. A motion to change the permanently change the threshold to 66% and leave it there.
Can we do a permanent motion?
Okay, let me take my words out. Just change it to 66% and get rid of the.
Okay, so you are saying to change it to 66%
and get rid of the trigger.
No hell or high water.
No trigger.
So before you do anything, Haley, is there a second? Second. Okay, there is a second. Okay, so it will read, a candidate for office who receives 66% or more of the votes cast at any point in the balloting process shall become the party's convention candidate with the full support of the party to advance in public elections. In the event the state of Utah amends SB 54 in such a way that eliminates the signature path to the Utah primary ballot, the percentage above will automatically change to 70%.
I want to eliminate the SB 54.
You can't. 10 words or less.
All right.
Okay, so we have
Can I
a...
give a rationale?
Yes, now 1 minute to give you rationale.
All right. Our founding fathers used 2/3 for a majority in situations like this. It's the way in Republican organizing that we can protect the minority against the tyranny of the majority. It's an important number. And I want to remind everybody here, especially all of the new delegates, this type of neighborhood delegate-driven political organizing is the way our founding fathers rebelled against the king, beat the most powerful army on this earth, handed their generation the condition of liberty, and then enshrined this, what we're doing right here, in Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution. We should be fighting to protect this with our lives against all threats, especially SB 54.
Okay, now we have had someone speak to this amendment. Do we have anyone to speak against the amendment?
Temple Public in St. George Old Age, and currently I'm a member of the Bylaws Committee. I will speak against the amendment.
Now, are you speaking against Gooch's amendment? Okay, go
I will
ahead.
speak against Gooch's amendment. First of all, let's not confuse our purpose here. We are the nominating committee. This is a nominating convention. We gather together in caucus to develop the potential candidates for our party. We are always here to nominate, and we want two candidates, the best candidates. We don't want a poor candidate and the best candidate. We want the two best candidates, and that means we need, like we saw here today, two good candidates come out and duke it out together. Now, that being said, the 70% rule, which is already there, okay, that we shouldn't be changing that, because what it does, when we saw it in work today, and I'm going to just use the two candidates that were up here for 29, we saw.
Okay, now, is there anyone to speak for?
Call the question.
For the amendment to the amendment. Okay, if not, then we will vote on the amendment to the amendment. Okay, so make sure you know what you're voting on here. Okay, tell me what our thresholds are again to, this has to be, is this a majority or a 2/3? An amendment to the amendment. Okay, so amendment to the amendment is 50% plus 1. So how many do I need? What is the majority of the credential? No, it's not of who's left. It's of the credentialed ones. Okay, so we need 298 to vote for this. Okay, so do we have that minimum register? 298? I think we do. Okay, so if you are in favor of changing the 60 to 66, you're going to vote yes or aye, and if you are opposed to it, you're going to vote no. So all in favor of changing it to 66%? Aye. All opposed? No. We're going to, the chair calls that failed. The amendment fails. The amendment. Okay, if you want a roll call, we'll do a roll call. Some of you are really loud, so don't raise your voice, and that won't change what I hear. So a roll call vote means that we have to stand and be counted. Okay? Now, only if you have a sticker on can you be counted. So I'm going to have Brandan, you take that section section. Laurie, you take the middle. And who else do I have? Barry, you take this section. Yes. Okay? All in favor. Now, here's the deal. When they say your name, sit. So we know, when they say one, sit. So we know they counted you.
We're just voting to change the amendment. The amendment would still have to be voted on after that.
Correct. Yep. This is only to change the amendment to 66. Okay? All right. So all in favor of changing it to 66, please stand. Sit after you've been pointed to, please, so that we know you've been counted. It's changing it from 60 to 6, changing this amendment from 60 to 66.
Any back here? 49? Anyone else back here? Nope.
Have these been counted over here, Laurie? We counted the ones in line, and they're down, so you only have one in line.
Because it stops up. So those people are going to still speak against my change and then these people still can speak for it. And now the bylaw, whatever local tells us, did you send them 66? And then we start all over the people up here again. How many people do we have to vote? They say. I think it's majority. But they have to have a certain number of presidents to be able to change it.
And wait to be voted.
Yeah, to have one. Yeah. Yes, I'm sure there is, but I don't know what that number is. I was curious. That way I have one less. She's like,
well, I was just thinking, depending on where, if all of these people walked out, it couldn't change them.
I'm over here at a camp road, so I'm on the edge.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. That's my point. If all these people walked out, though, if we want to have a quorum, that's right.
We could vote.
And so no one could vote.
Right? It answers everything.
Yep.
So what do we just stand up for again?
If you're against the amendment to the amendment. The first one is if you're in favor of it. This is if you're against it.
Oh, that's true, though. We gotta vote twice.
And then, once that's done, then we gotta discuss this and do a vote.
sir, 36, 37. You counted? What? Have you counted? I raised my hand. Oh.
You guys stay standing. You have not been counted yet. Stay standing. You have to
Good pull. Good job. There's inefficiency. Right. Humans heard. Motion made. What about? Someone can pick it up then? It's mostly where I was right. What you got? The entire county. He's got also word. So I'm going to gather speech and watch.
All right, folks. So it was those who voted in favor of the amendment was 184. Those who voted against the amendment was 194. So the motion fails. Now we are back to discussing the amendment, and we're back to the right to be against. Okay? So yours would, okay, so I know what you're going to say. So yours is a point of order. Yes. This mic. Don't touch the button.
There we go. Brian Owen Hurricane 01. And I am making a point of order for a correction to the original amendment. It reads 70%, but that should be struck, and 60% word should be put in just as a clarification or correction.
Does that require an amendment where it's a typo? Or where it's a typo, I don't know. The typo was in the original amendment. Okay, Nanya, do you deem that to be a friendly amendment? Okay, so hang on, that's my timer saying we're out of time. So we can change that without a vote. Okay, so you got 60% good. Okay, now.
The clean section should change.
Oh, yes, we will clean that at the end. Okay, thank you. All right, so now we gave a 4. We have to give equal opportunity. So we will give a opportunity for against at 1 minute, and then you will decide whether or not we lengthen and are ready to vote. If you need to lengthen and have more debate, then I will need to have a motion to extend debate. Yeah.
Neil Walter, SCO5. I'm speaking against the amendment. We had this debate very recently. We've had a lot of conversation about this. I'm supportive of leaving the language the way that it is and giving it some time. I want to just provide one piece of context. In 2014, when SB 54 was passed, it was passed because we were having a large debate across the state. If we had passed a 70% threshold at the state, SB 54 and the signature gathering route would have gone away. The whole thing would have gone away. Right now, 16 of the counties have a threshold above 60%. We just moved ours. We need more counties to move this way so that we can have a chance to reignite this conversation at some point. And so I'm for leaving it at 70%, which makes me against this particular amendment, and give this some time to work to the counties, and hopefully we can bring this back to the state party and have a chance to address this. Thank you.
Now, as I said before, our debate to continue debate, someone needs to extend the time. To extend the time, it takes 2/3. Okay, just a majority. So to extend the time, so when you make a motion, you would move to extend it for whatever time you want to say, and then we would have a second, and we would vote on it, and then determine whether or not we're ready to be done or continue debating.
I move for time to be extended so that all persons that are on both sides will have.
Don't say why, just give me the motion, and you can speak.
Well, that's a duration of time that all persons are that desire to comment.
Okay, hold on, let me give you some instruction. Okay, you need to make a motion, then you can speak to it. So you need to extend the time by how much?
The duration of time for each person that wants to comment.
No, it's got to be more specific.
15 minutes.
How many?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. So we have a motion to extend the time by 10 minutes. Is there a second? Okay, so do we need to speak to it, or are we ready to vote? Okay, so we will vote. All in favor of extending 10 minutes? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Okay, all opposed to extend, hold on, do that again. Let me look all the way around. Okay, those opposed to extending 10 minutes, raise your hand. Okay, that fails. So we will vote. So, we're going to raise hands again so that we can't yell. It depends on what the motion is. Yes, you can make that motion.
I second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to extend 5 minutes. All in favor, raise your hands. Oh, this is going to be close. All opposed? No, it fails. Okay, so we will vote. Again, so let's have everybody take your seats because we're not going to be speaking to it. So, those, I don't know, do you think we need to, we're just going to do a roll call. So, those in favor of the amendment, in favor of changing it, lowering it from 70 to 60%, you guys ready to count? Please stand. Remember that we need 2/3 vote to change a bylaw.
I just want to make a comment. The 66% is
No. You say 2/3. Sorry, what do you
say
ask?
2/3.
Sorry, we're in the middle of the vote, but 2/3. It requires 2/3 to change an amendment. 2/3 of the body that's here. Did we lose Brandan? Okay, very deep section.
She was sitting around there. She didn't propose it. To watch see if she stands. Her husband was standing. I don't understand. I don't think she's not.
to changing the bylaw, leaving it at 70, please stand. Okay, and we'll vote. Do you want to, Kimball, you do that side, thank you. Okay, we don't need to count. It's clear. So the motion fails. The amendment, the motion to amend the bylaws fails. All right, thank you all. You know, as when the party chair is conducting a meeting, we have to stay neutral while that discussion's going on. I want to thank you for leaving it high. It is really important that we understand our role. And our role is to nominate. Our role is not to elect. It is not our job to choose for the voters who they that we will bring more people into this party if we give them the opportunity to vote. And we don't take all of that power on our own and say, here's your elected official, because we know that they're going to win, the Republican candidate's going to win. So I appreciate you giving integrity to the caucus convention. For those of you who feel strongly about 60, I feel your sympathy. I empathize, I really do. I know that it's hard to watch your candidate not win. And it's hard to, we all do. We get behind them and we want to win, and we want that to be lower so they have an easier chance of getting there. And I really think this is good. For us to send 2 candidates out to Senate 29 is a good thing. It will give the voters a reason to believe in caucus convention and come and participate with us. So thank you.
Madam Chair, can I just have a point of conversation?
Point of personal privilege?
Yes. You wondered how to get people to caucus. You have to make it an incentive for people to want to come and be there. You have the most persons who have done the most work to vet these candidates in our convention today, and their vote doesn't count because it can't reach a threshold to choose a candidate to move forward. So I feel like if we want this to work as a system, we have to figure out how to allow what we're doing. Because now whoever has the most financial backing is who is going to win the next primary step. So I want my vote to count. I want my research to count. I want to support caucus, but there has to be an incentive for us and to encourage our neighbors to do so. So a lower threshold would help that happen.
I appreciate that. Folks, I know that you want to go home, but Brandan Todd spent some time for us to celebrate the GOP's birthday. And as you leave, we're asking you to go back out the same way you came. There's going to be cake and ice cream out there to celebrate our birthday. So, hang on for 5 minutes while she finishes what she's going to do. Brenda, you're up. The rest of my team, please head out and start dishing up the cake and ice cream. Hold on. Let's do the straw poll results. Maybe you want to come on, pull those up. Okay, so go down. Keep going. Go back to responses. Yes, and then go down until we get to the pie chart. So Senator, it looks like we have, hover over it so it says its name. So Trent Staggs, we'll just do the top 3. John Curtis, head on down to the next one. We've got, hover over, Colby Jenkins. Governor, we've got Phil Lyman, Cox, and Carson Jorgensen. Go on down. We'll have these later on our Facebook page so you can look quicker. Trent Christensen, Attorney General. Next up is Rachel Terry, and then Derek Brown. Keep going. State Auditor, Tina Cannon, and then Ricky. Senate, kind of what we said already. Okay, keep going down to the State School Board. And then 71% to Joe. body. Okay, now we're up for Miranda. Hang on and come get some cake and ice cream. We'll go really fast. So I pulled out some trivia questions about the Republican Party. Thank you. And so we're just going to go through this really fast. So the first question, you'll just kind of guess amongst yourselves, and then of course we'll show you the answer. So next slide. First question is, okay, will you go to the next one? Yes. When was the early Republican Party formed? Just guess amongst yourselves. We've got our years right there. Thumbs up if you're ready for the answer. Okay, answer please. 1792. Yourselves on the back. Next question. Why was the party formed? Huh? Oh, right here. You've got 3 choices. Thumbs up, ready for the answer? Okay, answer please. Opposition to a strong central government. All right, next question. There's only 6 questions. The Republican Party of 1792 evolved into the Democratic Republican Party. So when the modern Republican Party was formed, when? Okay, hold your answer. You ready? Okay, answer please. 1854, the month of March, that's why we're celebrating today. Okay, next question. Where was the Republican Party formed? Thumbs up when you know the answer, or if you know it. Answer please. Wisconsin, they are very proud of that. Next question. When did the Republican Party receive the nickname GOP?
Really?
Thumbs up when you know the answer, or if you have a good guess. Okay, answer please. 1870s. I couldn't find the exact year. I was looking for it, but 1870s is when we received the nickname GOP. Next question. How many Republican presidents have we had? We need more. Thumbs up when you have a guess. Okay, answer please. 19. You need to raise that. Yes. Next question. Oh,